Why, hello, wrestling fans. I have forgot to put my ring light on. That'll be why I look so dark. Hello, wrestling fans. I am Tom Colliehue, if you don't already know. If you don't, it's there. Nope, it's not there. It's there, and it's there. Just to remind people, today we are talking NXT Takeover. We will be watching NXT Takeover, and hopefully you will be joining me in reacting to NXT Takeover, seeing some real quite exciting things, as we know there's going to be some great wrestling tonight. At the moment, I have the network up on my TV right there. They are talking Bianca Belair. I am live on Periscope at the moment. That is not going to be continuing. Periscope is only for the pre-show. If you want to continue watching afterwards, be sure to follow on twitch.tv/Tom Colliehue. That is where we will be focusing most of it. And this is one of our last shows, or it is going to be one of our last shows on YouTube as well. So if you haven't already, please do remember to follow over on twitch.tv/Tom Colliehue. Manny says, Tom, what's up? Hey, Manny, glad to see you here. Are you going to be watching NXT TakeOver with us? When we are starting into the pre-show, which will be in about 8 minutes, I will be running down the card. I will be giving my predictions. I will, of course, be reacting as much as possible. I have been doing Valentine's Day duties, so I have had a moderate amount of wine, but not a considerable amount. The last of it here. Got some food with me. I, of course, have the all-important Jigsaw of the Rock, which I will be playing into at some point. I have my usual cuddly toys as well. So, tonight is NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day. It's been a while since we've had ourselves a Vengeance Day. It's been a while since we've had ourselves a Valentine's Day pay-per-view, but it's headlined by Pete Dunne and Finn Balor, which is always going to be a great match. Karrion Kross is hovering in the background. The Undisputed Era aren't even on the card. There is so much going into this one. Manny says, oh, hell yeah, welcome, sir. Glad to see you'll be keeping me company on this one. So we will be live for the whole show on YouTube and on Twitch. If you're watching on Periscope, please do jump over to twitch.tv/Tom Colliehue. That is where the focus is going to be going forwards. Hey, Weapo, glad to see you jump in. Happy to see you here. Hope you'll be joining us for the show. You tell me what your favorite matches are. Let's get going. And Manny says, for all of you asking about Taya, she's with NXT now. Taya Valkyrie has been signed with the WWE, according to a report from PW Insider. I have been asked about this a few times. I couldn't see her going anywhere else because of where her husband is right now, so it made the most sense for me that Taya Valkyrie would be here. I would imagine it's hard to show her in the crowd like they normally would in this situation, like we've seen with Kaylee Ray, like we've seen with Kushida, like we've seen with so many people sat ringside, and then the crowd goes wild because they show them on camera for the first time. We can't see that with Taya Valkyrie, but I think it's very likely we will see her tonight. The way PW Insider usually has this information is they literally watch the Performance Center. That's how they knew Edge went in there, for example. So if this is an accurate report, it will definitely mean that we will see Taya Valkyrie sooner rather than later. Manny says he's most excited for all of them. There's not a match that feels bad. Certainly not. It says, any chance they could be just a video package to promo her? Certainly they could be. That makes quite a lot of sense. To be completely honest, I think that makes the most sense in the situation as just the way they could possibly do it. Weapo, I think you misunderstand what we're doing here. This is a watch along. I will not be showing the pay-per-view. This is not an illegal stream. This is a fully legal stream. Says, thanks for showing the NXT whole show. I won't be able to pay for WWE sub. I will not be showing TakeOver in this stream. Just to be absolutely clear, this is a watch along. We'll be talking about and reacting to the show. We will not have the show on screen at any time, and I have the headphones in so that you don't hear any audio from it. Manny says we're also going to see Eli Drake. Has Eli Drake signed? Big news for WWE. A lot of people signing to NXT, but will they be able to break immediately into that top level? Because there are so many people already there. Ed is excited for Kushida versus Gargano. It's nice to see Kushida finally getting a solid moment. It really is. And I'm really excited to see what they can deliver in the ring. Kushida, as we know, is a hugely exciting talent. He's done wonderful things over in Japan. So it's lovely to see him properly getting a chance now to see what he can do. with a longer match. He's never had very long matches either. In about 5 minutes, we are going to tweet out that we are here, and that's when I expect to see a few more numbers come in. But for the moment, slowly and surely, we are working our way towards the pre-show, which will start in just 4 minutes. Also, of course, on the card, we have a title defense for Io Shirai. I'll get to that in just a moment, Manny. Io Shirai is defending against Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. I was concerned about Mercedes Martinez. She was in Retribution. She did return to NXT. And honestly, I didn't think they would have a spot for her. This is an interesting thing to do as a way of getting her back into the public eye. I can't see her winning, though. Logically, this should be similar to what's going on with Keith Lee being involved in Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle right now. It's a pivot point. I think it's just a way to extend the eventual Io versus Toni Storm match. Or maybe Rhea Ripley, after all, we haven't seen her. Manny says, he did, PW Insider just revealed it. Well, then I definitely expect we'll see some sort of video package, or they will appear in the Thunderdome tonight. I would laugh very hard if they did the, there is a person appearing at ringside, oh, but it's in the Thunderdome now. I would find that very, very funny. I'd really enjoy that. Bit of wine. Wonderful thing. So I'm going to quickly run over my schedule before the watch-along really kicks into gear with the pre-show, which gives me something to react to. I am doing regular watch-alongs now, not regularly for NXT, but regularly regardless. We are going to be doing a 6 p.m., so in 18 hours or so, 6 p.m. preview show for Raw tomorrow. That will be on YouTube and on Twitch. We are also going to do a Raw watch-along that will just be on Twitch. We are then going to be doing gaming content Tuesday and Thursday, Football Manager on Tuesdays, Bloodborne on Thursdays. I am considering when I can slot in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then on Fridays, similar to Mondays, we will have a preview show at 6, a watch-along during the evening, and then leading into the weekend, it is Elimination Chamber, where we will be doing a full watch-along on both YouTube and Twitch. That will be the last live show on YouTube. If you've not already gone over to Twitch, you need to be doing so ready and in time. Ed says, I kind of want Taya to go straight to main roster. Me too, to be completely honest. The Raw Women's Division could use her. However, at the same time, if she comes in at NXT, it is likely to replace someone who's already been called up. For example, a Rhea Ripley, who's been integral to NXT. Or maybe a Dakota Kai, who I think will be the next one in a strong position to go up. At the same time, let's say Kai and Gonzalez or Moon and Shotzi Blackheart win the Dusty Classic and get a chance to win the Women's Tag Team Championships. If they win those, they won't be featured as heavily on NXT. That again creates an opportunity for someone else to step in. Just one last time, if you are currently watching on Periscope, in a couple of minutes, the actual pre-show starts for NXT, and I will be dropping off of Periscope. Come over to YouTube, which is youtube.com/Tom Colhue, or twitch.tv/Tom Colhue to enjoy and watch from there. Notifications have already gone out on Twitch for anybody who will be joining, and I will be doing regular tweets saying that you can watch and where you can watch if you are in fact watching. If you are an NXT fan, this is the place to be to really share and mark out with everyone. You do not want to be missing this one. I'm dropping off of Periscope now. Everyone should jump over to everywhere else. Periscope, go bye-bye. So welcome to our pre-show main show. Nobody else will be dropped off. If you're watching on YouTube, you are fine for the entire show. If you're watching on Twitch, you are fine for every show. YouTube has not had these watch-alongs regularly, but they are happening regularly over on Twitch. So if you haven't seen much from what's going on the Raw and SmackDown watch-alongs, I get a bit strange. Not going to lie to you guys, I get a little bit strange. I'm going to be pulling out posters. I'm going to be pulling out cuddly toys. I have myself some wedgies and a little garlic bread to keep me entertained. A little bit of drink as well. And as aforementioned, one of the things I'm thinking with Twitch, what you get when you get monetized, which is happening very soon. David Khan says, hi, Tom Colhue. Welcome, David. Glad to see you jump in. One of the things that you get is points, essentially, for watching. And you can cash in those points to request something from the streamer. I'm going to do a What Does The Rock Think segment which I'm just going to call The Rock Says, where I speak as The Rock. We'll see how that goes, but we're going to see some props involved. I may be trialing that at some point tonight. Keep an eye out for that. Manny says, if Ty goes to main roster, she'll be put with Morrison, and then Maurice will come back, and I think she'll be way better with NXT. We can't automatically know that. I think it's possible, certainly. It's not impossible in any way, shape, or form, but we can't automatically know that. So I wouldn't say for sure. For anyone who watched the Royal Rumble watch along, we don't have any guests today. I haven't asked anyone. This is just going to be the way I do things. David says, what points? That is purely a Twitch system. If you watch on Twitch, you accrue points for activities there. Essentially, the more you comment, the more you engage, the more points you accrue, and you can spend them asking me to do certain things. It depends what those things are. The NXT Takeover Vengeance Day pre-show is being hosted by Sam Roberts. Sam Roberts is hosting the pre-show. This is a confusing prospect. Sam has introduced Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett has taken over, and it already feels a lot more like NXT. Bless Sam Roberts. He's just sort of there. He's just sort of there. The podcasters are taking over. Sam Roberts is introducing Brandon Locker from Barstool. This is a... What is it with the WWE? They haven't actually got any of their normal hosts available? It is the podcasters. David Cohen says, do you watch AEW or NXT? I don't watch either religiously, but I do watch both to an extent. I don't watch them every week, but I catch up as much as I can. I have to sleep sometimes, you know? I'm a UK streamer, so I'm watching from over the pond, as it were. So if I'm watching NXT, it's 1 a.m. I can do that to a certain degree. I can do that for Raw. I can do that for SmackDown. Particularly SmackDown, because that's a weekend. I can stay up late on a weekend. But I do have to call it for Wednesdays when I would have to watch for 4 hours NXT and AEW. There are question marks about Raw, to be completely honest with you, with that as well. The pre-show panel is running down the card with just a solid camera angle. For some reason, they're not at a table. They're just stood there talking about the show. This doesn't feel like WWE, which, to be fair, not necessarily a bad thing. Let's be honest. Wade Barrett has just carefully said that the winners of the Dusty Classic matches will eventually get a tag team championship match. Eventually. They're showing Finn Balor making his entrance. I bet Finn Balor, great guy. Michael Latina is here. Welcome, Michael. Says, how's it going, Tom? Ready for TakeOver? I am feeling ready. Yeah, I'm hyped up for it. Pete Dunne is getting a full entrance. With Lorcan and Birch with him, Dunne is not reacting to anything. I find it funny that Pete Dunne has not made any reaction to Matt Riddle not being there. I found that very, very interesting. So let me know what matches you're most excited for, Michael. Conrad is here as well from the PW show. If you're watching on YouTube, that is a YouTube channel that you should check out. He is also available on Twitch, so check him out there. Says, hey, Tom, welcome, Conrad. Glad to see you jumping in. Let me know what you're most excited for NXT as well. Glad to see so many familiar names jumping in and saying hi. We will be running for the entirety of the show on YouTube and on Twitch. Johnny Gargano, who apparently is injured or has picked up some sort of injury, will still be competing against Kushida. The Dusty Road Tag Team Classic final for the women is Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez against Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. I am going to be really happy whoever wins that. The Dusty Rhodes Classic finals for the men is MSK, who've really just appeared in NXT, and they have dominated the field, and the grizzled young veterans who came over from NXT UK. It is disappointing that no one will be there to take off their shoes for Zach Gibson. I don't know why we do it, but we in the UK do that. Oh, missed one. Michael says, I'm really excited for Io versus Tony versus Mercedes. I really want Tony to be the champion. That's a really interesting one because I honestly don't know where it's going to go. I didn't expect Mercedes to be involved in this with the way she came back to NXT, but they are using her. They're using the women's field extremely well. The fact that they've got 7 women on the card tonight is a very powerful position for them. So I feel it will be really good. Plus, NXT does really good triple threat matches. And Conrad said, I'm excited for Balor and Dunn, also MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans. I think Balor versus Dunn, the main event, will be the top match in WWE so far this year, to be completely honest. The tag match has certainly done a lot, bringing in Grizzled Young Veterans. They've got Imperium there. MSK have received a push. I think they've done really well and been really clever in the way that they have brought people in and really revitalized the tag division in NXT. It needed it. And to be honest, it could well revitalize the tag divisions in the whole of WWE. David Khan says SmackDown is so good. It definitely is. SmackDown for me is a top wrestling show in the world right now. Every single week it seems to be the top, but there are a number of different ways that it could go. And there are certainly times AEW has a more wow factor. Conrad says, I want Dunn to win, but I know better. Yeah, I would love Pete Dunne to win, but I don't think he'll be too long in NXT anymore. When it comes to what happens next for Finn Balor, I think Karrion Kross is waiting in the wings, and I think we will end the night tonight with Finn Balor facing down Karrion Kross. That said, Karrion Kross does have a different opponent at the moment. Confusing as that is, there is a different opponent keeping him going. During the pre-show tonight, we are essentially seeing a rundown of everything that's happened in the Women's Dusty Classic so far. I thought for a moment Shotzi was bleeding, but nope, that's just some very well done paint. A very strong field leading to a very strong final. Every time William Regal appears, I kind of expect him to say, War Games! I can't do the right impression. I've also met William Regal. Lovely guy. Man, can he talk. That man can genuinely talk so much. Never known anything like it. If you are watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That is a big help to me. Really helps what I'm trying to do here. Helps me grow and get more people in. So please remember to do that if you are watching over on YouTube. And if, of course, you're watching on Twitch, if you are new to the Twitch, please do remember to click follow. If you are not new, please do remember to say hi. Because why ever not? And chat away, because really I'm looking for comments. I'm looking for people who are jumping in, and I'm looking to get talking. Manny says, I think Shotzi and Ember will win because Nia and Shane are champs and they're heels. Makes sense for me. I can definitely see that happening, but it depends how this championship match happens. Is it going to be a straight tag team match without a third party? Because it could be that Lana and Naomi are there as the faces in a heel versus heel competition. Number of ways they could do it. They could be there to take the fall. I think really, ideally, this goes to WrestleMania. I think that's the perfect way to do this. Sam Roberts has just called Shotzi Blackheart the future. I'm going to be really, really blunt here, particularly at Sam Roberts here. He said Bianca Belair was going nowhere. So I don't trust a word he says. Also, in this one, he is kind of right. Michael says, I'm expecting MSK to win, and I'm not too thrilled with them coming right in and winning this tournament, but I'm excited for the match. I'm not sure on that one. I think Grizzled Young Vets make the most sense to have a heel win, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see a face win. It wouldn't be too big a shock for me, and really, it does strap the rocket. Now, I know it's obviously really shot up really quickly. I'm not particularly annoyed about that, to be completely honest, but when it comes to that, there's a number of ways they could do it. I think that's a way to get someone over fast. Certainly, it's got a lot of people talking, but what happens next is the most important thing. Dave Khan says WWE has signed Clint Barrow. It seems like WWE has really brought in the next batch of people at the Performance Center. Unfortunately, so far, with the people who've been brought into the Performance Center, they've not been the immediate top caliber people that they've needed. With NXT, you come in at the bottom. Usually, MSK are a bit of a misnomer in that regard, but the tag division needed new blood. Usually in WWE, you come in at the bottom, you work your way up. Sometimes you might not get to the top because you'll be dragged to the main roster first. At the moment, NXT isn't really able to do that because they have so many people who are at the top and will not be leaving. Johnny Gargano, Undisputed Era, Tommaso Ciampa, they don't want to go anywhere. Conrad for Everything Pro Wrestling says, came to leave you a like over here too. Thanks very much, Conrad. Really do appreciate it. And Manny says, I think because the NXT Tag Champs are heels, MSK will win. Oh, again, that does make a lot of sense, but it depends where they're going. Imperium and Grizzled Young Vets have already tussled quite a lot of times, and you never know when they're going to do a face turn. Grizzled Young Vets are innately hateable, but so are Imperium when Volta is there. Thing is, having interviewed Volta, I specifically asked him about the fact that he doesn't always get booed. Sometimes he gets cheered. Sometimes he gets a lot of a stronger reaction. And I asked him about his reaction to it, and he essentially said, I don't care. I don't care about the reaction that the fans give me. I just want to put on good wrestling matches and enjoy my time. I respect that. Manny says WWE has signed AQA. Have they signed APA again? That could be fun. Apparently WWE is signing everyone. Conrad says, I think NXT adjusting from the old formula, which was money. Yeah, NXT now is not the same as it was when Finn Balor was first called up. At that point, whenever someone got to the main event, they would only be there 3 or 4 months and then they would move on. Championship reigns were very brief, and you didn't have anything above a championship reign. Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe were 2-time champions, and really that started something very different for NXT. We now have multiple time champions, whereas before that, we didn't. NXT has been changing from what some people consider the glory days, but it has also been moving into what some people consider the glory days, which is this. NXT right now is a product more aimed at casuals. It has to be, because they have to worry about actual ratings and making sure people are watching on the USA Network. David Khan says, do you think we'll get surprises tonight? It depends what you define as surprises. I think Karrion Kross being involved with Finn Balor could be classed as a surprise, but I don't think anyone will be too surprised. I think the announcement of the signings that they've made recently, if you don't keep your ear to the ground and if you don't follow wrestling Twitter, they will be classed as surprises. A lot of people will be reacting on Twitter as if they've not seen the news, because a lot of people haven't seen the news. So it really does depend what you consider a surprise. Manny Santos says Eli Drake's new name is LA Knight. Interesting. Is that from the PW Insider report, Manny? Ooh. So I am live there. And the bit rate's fine. Everything going good. Fantastic. Over the course of the day, I will be taking brief breaks to refresh my drink and so on and so forth. When that happens, my camera feed will drop out. There'll be a logo, but I'll be back, so don't worry too much. I don't believe... right, the report comes from Fightful. Thanks, guys, for letting me know that one. So that reinforces what PW Insider is saying. PW Insider and Fightful have been reporting a lot of the same things recently, sort of confirming each other and reinforcing each other. It doesn't look like there's any matches on the pre-show today. NXT usually don't have matches on their pre-shows. It's why they get away with them only being half hour. Wade Barrett thinks Mercedes Martinez is going to be taking the championship tonight from Io Shirai. I don't think Io Shirai is losing the championship tonight. I really don't. Who do you guys think is going to win the women's triple threat tonight? Sam Roberts has made multiple bad news jokes already. It's disconcerting. We have 15 minutes left until the main show starts. We have WWE shop advertisement. Michael says, I'm torn between Tony and Io. I can see it going either way. It could be. It depends where they're going moving forwards. There has to be some new challenger going. David Khan says, do you report stuff nowadays? To be completely blunt, it's for a long time, it's been more trouble than it's worth. Because whenever I report something that someone doesn't like the sound of, I get called a fraud. And the thing is, I've sat there and I reported, for example, that Seth Rollins would be taking time off. When he took time off, I reported that in August. It made big news in October. I got called a fraud for that. There is a Reddit thread calling me a liar because, and I quote, Tom Colohue reported the story that AJ Styles would be moving to SmackDown, and it was a lie. That report came out in February, the year before last. Sorry, February last year. And then in April, AJ Styles moved to SmackDown. So it's really annoying that so many of these things happen. Honestly, my intention is if people want news, I will be looking at subscriber-only streams on Twitch, basically. But that's a consideration. I don't report news all that much nowadays, but I do refer back to a lot of things. For example, when it made big news that the WWE are interested in Jay White, I reported that a year ago. I also reported in that same report that Jay White was not interested in moving to the WWE. So, you know. Manny says Triple H did say that the most women are going to be in the new class. Yeah, it makes sense. They've been bringing in some more women to strengthen their women's division and their women's tag division. There is a number of people that could be on for that. And Manny says AQA, Titan, I don't know who else. You did mention Eli Drake, so I'd imagine that'll be it. Ed, with his predictions, please, guys, let me know your predictions for all of the matches. Says Griddled Young Veterans. Black Moon. Is that... Oh, right. Shotty Blackheart. Okay. Io Shirai, Johnny Gargano, and Finn Balor. You are very close to my opinions as well. I'm thinking, to be honest, Gargano is the one I am most concerned about, as it were. I would usually go for that exact list, but I think Kushida might be taking it tonight. I really do. That could certainly launch him in a new direction, and I think he needs it. There was certainly a plan to have Kushida pushed a lot harder in the mini G1 of the cruiserweights that they did on NXT, which is very well received. But Drake Maverick received the reception that he did. People wanted him to get a new job. Things were changed to get him more attention and make him the winner as he was. Make him the runner-up as he was. He won his block instead of Kushida, so he didn't get the push that was originally requested. Michael says, Dakota's another person I really want to be champion. Hope her and Raquel can beat Nia and Shayna if they end up winning. That, I think, would be a very good match and a really good way to do it. I honestly am just a little bit upset that we can't have that as a triple threat. That would be a really fun triple threat. Ed says, can't wait for Christian Casanova. Dude has been killing it up here in the Northeast. Won't be too long, tell you that. David Khan says, where is Bo Dallas? Catering. He's backstage. He's just not used. That's a generalization. He's not always backstage. He has been backstage at times when I've asked people. There are other times when he hasn't been backstage. But essentially, creative hiatus. They can't think of anything to use him for, essentially. The last time he was really used was to the Miz Taraj, and that was the Miz making that happen. Manny Santos says, I have MSK, Moon and Blackheart, Io Shirai, Gargano, and Balor. Same as Ed Fries. That could be an interesting selection. Southwestern Railway Spotter 2020, hell of a name, says King Corbin is an STD, which, if you don't know, I believe The Rock coined this one. King Corbin is a strapping young dude. Strapping young dude. Strapping young dude. Strapping young dude. That's what The Rock says. If you are watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That's a big help for me. MSK are currently on my TV screen cutting one of their quite distinct promos. I like their style. Okay, I really like what they were doing there. Right. David says, who do you think can be the next Renee Young? I don't think they're going to replace Renee Young with another Renee Young. I think they need someone new. The only person for me who would have ideally stepped into that role would be Kathy Kelly, but she's already gone. Renee Young was something very different to what the WWE already have. The way she was quite holistic, she did a lot of things, and she was backstage talking to everyone, pushing hard. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. They weren't letting her do that, so I completely get why she didn't renew her contract. Southwestern Railway Spotter says the game needs to have one more match. I do feel like NXT Takeover is going to be quite short. 5 matches is the ideal for me. There are certainly a number of people off the card who they could have used. They just haven't done it. Sam Roberts gets called an incel. Always nice. We have a new debut, guys. And he's a talker. Here is Eli Drake. They are definitely calling him LA Knight. From Eli to LA. NXT does get stronger and stronger, I tell you that. Michael says he is Eli Drake. Michael says he can go to break promo. He can add a lot. I remember when NXT barely had anyone who could go to a great promo. I remember Bobby Roode starting a feud because he walked past someone and said, "Nice head." NXT didn't need storylines back in the day. Nowadays, it really does. So someone like Eli Drake is perfect. Sorry, LA Knight. Sam Roberts, and his very shiny forehead at the moment, is now back. Ed says, who do you think opens the show tonight? I think tag team action is ideal to open the show. I think logically the women's tag team Dusty Classic would be the one to open the show for me. That'll really get it going. Followed by Gargano versus Kushida. Followed by the men's Dusty Classic final. Then the women's triple threat. Then finally Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. That is how I would lay out the card personally. Southwestern says, what happened to Seth Rollins and is his wife, that'd be Becky Lynch, coming back for SummerSlam? Seth Rollins is back. He was back this week on SmackDown. He looks to be starting a feud with Cesaro, which will be a really, really fun feud. He's still playing Messiah. I don't know when Becky Lynch will be back. That's entirely up to Becky Lynch. Childbirth is a hell of a thing. That's all I'll say. A lot of people don't seem to realize it, but childbirth is a hell of a thing. It affects people differently. It is up to her when she comes back, but it might be a little while of recovery, and she might just want to spend quite a bit of time with her kid, to be completely honest. Dave says, why do you think NXT can't beat AEW in the ratings? Number of factors for me. NXT is not the cool new show that it was. Before AEW existed, NXT was the cool show for the smart fans, the hardcore fans. Now AEW is the hot young show for the cool fans, the smart fans, and so on and so forth. So AEW has taken a lot of that audience away. There are also certain very powerful draws in AEW that NXT doesn't have. If NXT had Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley, we'd have a very different situation. We do not have that. But there's also the fact that NXT now is even more WWE than ever. That does factor in. Manny says, I'm going to have to get used to LA Knight, but excited for him. Yeah, it's a different name. It's going to take some getting used to. It might take me a while as well. Dave says, Burn It Down is back. It is. It is. And no one is happier about that than me. Southwestern says, after the live stream, can you subscribe to me? What content do you make? You tell me what content you make. You convince me to subscribe to you. Go for it. You tell me. To be completely blunt, if your YouTube is videos of trains, I'm probably not going to subscribe to you. That's the message that I'm getting from you at the moment. You tell me why I should subscribe to you. If I'm convinced, I'll subscribe. Please do remember, if you're watching on YouTube, to click like. That is a big help to me. If you've found me via Twitter, please do remember to retweet and share the tweet announcing it. I will stick that in every now and then to remind people it is there. And if you haven't already, we are slowly wrapping up our time on YouTube Live. YouTube Lives will be tonight's watch along, Raw, SmackDown, and then the Elimination Chamber watch along. After that, there will be no more YouTube Live. It will all be on Twitch. So if you haven't already, please do remember to come over to Twitch and follow there. I will stick a link in for anyone who doesn't already have it. It will go to YouTube and to Twitch. Please do remember, click the link, pop over to Twitch. It's the exact same show, but you get a lot more of it. And you will get watch-alongs as well there that you don't get on YouTube going forwards. Plus, there will be benefits to following there, as well as a lot of separate streams and the like, more shows, some gaming content, and more say in the content that I create. So please do remember that. We are 4 minutes away from the beginning of NXT Takeover. Pete Dunne has been called brutal. We are seeing our final video package now. At some point soon, I might organize myself a little bit better. Dave says, don't stop doing live on YouTube. I don't have Twitch. There is a reason I'm doing this. With YouTube, I've been working for over a year to get to a point where I am monetized, and I have not reached that point. It is 1,000 subscribers. It is 4,000 watch hours. I haven't reached that point. I haven't. I've been asking people to subscribe, like videos and like, and really help me grow. It unfortunately has not reached that point. On Twitch, the limit to monetization is 50 followers. I made that in 1 month. If you don't have a Twitch, by all means create one. You can make a free Twitch account. You can follow me for free, and you can watch there. You get a notification every single time I go live. You click on that, it pops straight up. Easy as you like it. You get a lot more content over there. So if you don't have Twitch, pop on over to my channel, sign up. It is absolutely free, and you'll be able to see a lot more of my content over there. Conrad said Eli Drake is now Eli Knight. Yeah, it's a different name. It'll take some getting used to. I see what you're saying, Southwestern. I will check it out, and if I like it, I'll subscribe. So yes, every little helps over on Twitch as well. So please, if you haven't already, do drop in over there. And if you just like to follow on YouTube, you can still subscribe there. You'll still be getting review videos. You'll still be getting WTF wrestling. If you haven't checked it out already, I did do a video on abuse and harassment of WWE wrestlers. David Kahn says, can you get Twitch on desktop? Absolutely, you can. There is a mobile phone app. There is a dedicated website. There is a Mac system. You can get anything you want on there. Twitch works just like any other website. You can get it just fine. Okay, so the video package hyping up our main event featured quite a bit of edge. More than I expected, basically. Manny says, I think Gargano and Kushida or Women's Dusty is opening. Makes sense. We know the top championships aren't going to open the show, that being the men's and women's championships. It's pretty much guaranteed to be the men's main eventing the women's match just before it. What is my Twitch channel? I did put it a little bit high, but I'm going to put a link straight in. All you have to do is click the link that I'm going to put in. All you've got to do is click the link I've put in just there. You'll be taken straight to my Twitch channel. And from there, you'll be able to find it nice and easily. Create an account, click follow. It's really quite intuitive, really well done. And there'll be a lot more customization there. So, for example, you'll be able to make decisions on the content that I create. You'll have a lot more autonomy. And we seem to be creating a really good community over there. Ed Fries is please let me know if I'm pronouncing your surname wrong. I say Fries, I say Fries. I don't know which is correct. Is my mod over there. He's doing a great job helping me to create a really strong community and everything there. There's another few people who are in every now and then, few people who are in pretty regularly. We're building a really strong community over there, and I really like where it's going. But as many people watch there with 55 followers as watch on YouTube with more than 500. So it just seems to be a much stronger website for that, and people can find me more accidentally, if you get what I'm saying. I'm going to sneeze, pardon me. There it is. For anyone who doesn't already know, I abort sneezes. And Southwestern says, see you later, I'm going to sleep now. I'll see you later, Southwestern. Thank you for dropping in. Can you make a video on the 26th of February? What's happening on the 26th of February? 26th of February is a Friday. I will not be making a video then, but I will be live on Twitch. So on that day, I'll be doing a 6 p.m. SmackDown preview and a SmackDown watch-along that will only be on Twitch. Manny says, I hate to say it, but this commentary team during pre-show has been I'm not feeling the Brandon guy. I don't really remember him standing out, to be honest. I think he's there because the WWE have a I always get distracted by your comments, Ed. Have a deal in place with Barstool now. Oh, it's your birthday. Okay, I'll be doing things on Twitch, but unfortunately I will not be making anything on YouTube on that day. It says both correct, Tom. Fries like the food is the American pronunciation. Freeze is the original German pronunciation. Got it. Thank you very much. I'm going to pour myself a little bit more wine. Okay, so the opening package for NXT Takeover, which is starting now, has highlighted a lot of previous NXT stars. That includes Xavier Woods, for example, who looked very, very good. Also included Tyler Breeze. David says, can I be a mod on Twitch? At the moment, David, I do not need another mod. Ed is doing a very good job. But if you are a regular on Twitch, and I see you there regularly engaging, and I trust that you are looking out for me in that regard, then certainly that's something we can consider. Ed is someone who dropped in a few times. I needed a mod on Twitch. So it's not just about you are a mod if I like you. It's you're a mod if I like what you do. You are helpful to me and I need a mod. At the moment, very happy with the mod team that I have. It says, God, I love Josiah Williams. NXT, will you be my Valentine? That's a gimmick that'll get over. It really will. I need to be careful not to spend all my time looking up because my neck just bulges out. I'm eventually going to get a new webcam and stick it up there a little bit. It's a bit higher. I do have another webcam. Just can't use it. It makes my head really shiny for some reason. It is our Valentine's Day alternative. It doesn't need to be an alternative. You can watch this with your partner. Big Joseph, Beth Phoenix, and Wade Barrett are introduced. Instead of just putting perspex up, they put a chain link fence up, which is nice. It's a good way of keeping people separate. Vengeance Day is not in the Thunderdome after all. We have, I would say, enhancement talent. We have development talent at ringside. Michael says the women's tag match is first. You are ever so slightly ahead of me, Michael. Just a bit of a warning for that. This is kind of what I expected. It's a warm-up match. It'll get people going. Even though we don't have a crowd to hype up, we still want to hype up people at home. It also means they have a lot of faith in the performers here. And if Dakota Kai is one of them, I have a lot of faith in the performers here. For anyone who does not already know, I am a huge Dakota Kai fan. Huge. I followed her in her days back as Evie. We engaged a little bit, but nothing serious. I was hoping to get an interview during that time, but I wasn't working as an interviewer at the time, so it is what it is. As regards interviews, keep an eye out, because one of the many websites I am working for, I'm looking at working with a new YouTube channel going forward for separate content, where I essentially will be doing preview shows closer to the event, and that will involve a lot of interviews. I've started recording them already. The first one will be going live relatively soon. So that's something I would like you guys to keep an eye out. We'll be doing preview shows and interviews. I will tell you more about the website as soon as I can. Southwestern says, boo, they are the heels. I'm not going to boo them, though, because it's Dakota Kai. Ed says this is how the CWC Cruiserweight Classic has looked. Oh, right. Okay. Has looked for months. I love the look of it. I don't watch regularly. I really don't. Northern Bear, welcome. Says you're doing great work. Northern Bear put me over pretty hard in his Twitch channel show earlier playing Final Fantasy VIII. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, by all means, check out Northern Bear's work. He is well worth a follow. And also, sir, I did mean to ask you if at any point you wanted to join me for one of these shows. I am using it via StreamYard. All I have to do is send you a link, and I will be sure to plug Wrestle Critic, the channel, quite hard as well. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to our watch along. It looks like it's going to be one hell of a card. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon have got matching outfits on, matching overalls. It's very bloody. I like it. They are going with the massacre theme. Capital Wrestling Center. Thank you, Ed. These are things that I know but forget over time. There is a lot of wrestling. I can't catch it all. CWC for me just immediately screams Cruiserweight Classic. I'm a bit old school like that. Our first match is now live. Raquel Gonzalez will start the match. This is a power play, so I'd imagine Ember Moon logically should be up against her. Nope. Shotzi Blackheart starts and is immediately being shoved down. Manny is in wonder at the Shotzi and Ember look. Yep, they have made sure to match up at least in their entrance. I respect that. They weren't a tag team previously, but if they can make something of it, make it happen. We have a much stronger women's tag team division if you factor across the whole three brands now than we have had for a long time. You look at the women's tag teams that we've got in NXT now, in addition to everything going on with the Riot Squad, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke have really gelled. Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce were briefly a tag team, still kind of are, but aren't really doing much with it. And obviously, we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as our tag team champions. Ember Moon briefly tagged in, but was also overpowered. Shotzi Blackheart has come in, and they are double teaming Raquel Gonzalez. Only way. I'm excited for the day that Raquel Gonzalez makes her way to the main roster for two reasons. Firstly, can you still call her a power player when you've got Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and the like in opposite her? Secondly, if she's in a Royal Rumble, how are you going to eliminate her? How? I think that's going to be one of the things I do for Twitch points. Nominate someone and I'll ask how they can be eliminated from the Rumble. Ed says, for those who don't know, Ed gives me a lot of history along the way. NXT has about 100 fans, all in pods around the ring, which gives a bunch of life to the product. That's really good. It's very good. I can see the Thunderdome elements, but if they actually have fans in pods, that's very clever and very well done. It makes even more. That was a bad landing for Shotzi. Right on the tailbone. Protect your coccyx, guys. It's delicate. Yeah, that's very clever. Also explains why they've opened with this match, because it is a crowd warmer. If there's a crowd, absolutely they should. Oh, Dakota Kai is so good. Shotzi has hooked her legs into a I nearly said a forbidden four. I had forbidden door in my head. No, she's at the reach. Dakota, look up. Yeah, it's that simple. Just for anyone who doesn't watch these watch-alongs regularly, for example, if you're just watching on YouTube, I get very annoyed when people are that close to the ropes and they just pretend not to be. I don't like it. Southwestern Railway says, your dad's got COVID-19. I'm very sorry to hear that, man. I've had it myself. Most of my family have had it now, unfortunately. We have managed to push through. I hope your dad does as well. I'm going to briefly send a retweet for the site that I'm on. Shotzi is again going for submission moves. And Dakota Kai's already laddered her tight. She's not going to be happy about that. Since Becky Lynch mentioned that in an interview, I made a point of asking women about it, just sort of casually, women wrestlers, do you get annoyed when your tights ladder? They are all annoyed. They are all annoyed. That was really quite clever. Straight into submissions. Corey LMB, welcome. Happy to see you jump in, sir. Says, hi, Tom. Hope you're doing well, man. Great start to the pay-per-view. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great start. If you're going to start a pay-per-view with a hot match, especially if there are fans around, this is the way to do it. These women can definitely go. And it leaves the women's title match a bit of room to breathe. Because you'll have probably Kushida Gargano after this, then the men's Dusty Classic final. So it's a good way to do it. Who are your picks? Northern Bear, Corey MLB. Tell me who are your picks for the matches tonight. Someone says, thanks, bro. What WWE 2K matches would you like to see on my channel? Well, it depends what you want to play, really. I mean, honestly, if you're doing this on YouTube, the best thing you can do as someone who uploads videos onto YouTube is to stream on Twitch, to be completely honest, because you'll connect with the audience much stronger, and then you can take those videos of your stream and put them on YouTube the same way you've done it already. It's something I definitely think is worth considering, but go with the hot names and you'll get people watching. Norman Bear says, do you think the NXT women's division is the best in North America right now? Ooh. It's a really good question, because even just looking at the women in the ring, it's an incredibly strong division. Then you've got the women in the main event and women who aren't featured. Candice LeRae, for example, incredible wrestler. Dakota Kai, as I've mentioned, I'm a big fan. Ember Moon, we know and love. If Rhea Ripley was still in NXT, I would say yes. However, at the same time, look at SmackDown. Sasha Banks, Bayley, Bianca Belair. There is real talent there as well. There's a lot they can do. I don't know. Honestly, I think I'd have to give it to SmackDown, especially with how Carmella's been developing and the Riot Squad, the way they've been used recently, or how Billie Kay's been entertaining. I might have to give it to SmackDown, but by a whisker. Corey says, who have you got in the main event? I've got Finn Balor. I also have Finn Balor. I think the event will likely finish with Finn Balor holding the championship and Karrion Kross waiting in the wings. I have just been told, and you guys might find this interesting, Eli Drake, I'll read this verbatim from the DM. Eli Drake was asking for bookings around LA and Vegas as recently as January. So this is definitely a very quickly signed deal. Northern Bear says, I think Finn Balor wins and they put the NXT title match on the main WrestleMania card. They certainly could. It depends. They've got 2 nights, so they want to fill out both nights. But when it comes to NXT, where's your limit? If you're putting an NXT men's match on the card, surely you want to put an NXT women's match. And then do you have an NXT team in the WWE women's tag team title match? I think a women's tag team match, definitely. But it depends what else they put on the card. It really goes towards a suggestion that NXT is main roster if it's on WrestleMania. I think it does good for the people there. I think Balor's a name that can definitely carry that spot. But it depends if he's going to get squashed or not. It also says Balor versus Cross is Mania worthy. Certainly, I think it is. Finn Balor just himself is WrestleMania worthy. Karrion Kross hasn't been developed to that level just yet in WWE, but it certainly would be a good start. Southwestern, just as a general thing, I'm not going to make too many suggestions. I've already said big names. I've already given suggestions about Twitch. I'm not going to tell you what I want to see on your channel. You make your content and you have fun doing that. That's the important thing. Blackheart and Moon have been very, very good so far. They've connected really well as a team. Those are really firm hits. Oh, we're going to get the Nia Jax. No, we're not. Oh, we're going to get worse. Oh, we're going to get worse. Daoud Khan, welcome over to Twitch. Very glad to see it. Please do remember to click follow while you do. That's a big help to me. David says, do you think the men's NXT division has been stale? I wouldn't say so. I think Karrion Kross has added a lot. I think Finn Balor returning to it the way he did and the fact that he's been kept out of the main event picture for so long has been very good. As well as that, what's his name? What's his name? The guy is not a wrestler, but he's actually really good. I can't remember his name. Help me out, please, guys. The pundit, the guy who was a football player, who was really very good. He worked with Adam Cole. His involvement has been really fresh. Pete Dunne's involvement has been really fresh. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, his involvement, thank you, Ed. His involvement has really added a lot. So they kept the top line really quite fresh. Unfortunately, it's meant that Ciampa hasn't been used all that much. That Gargano has had to drop down a rung, and that right now, the Undisputed Era are not on the card. They need to be careful of that. Corey says, I have Dakota Kai and Gonzalez this match. I personally have Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, but I think this is a match where whatever the result, I'm happy. I'm happy whatever happens there. Southwestern, as I said earlier, at some point soon, I will watch what you're doing. I'll check out your next video. If I like it, I will subscribe. It's that simple, mate. It's that simple. Don't make your content for me. Make it for you. Make content you enjoy, and you'll find an audience. Raquel Gonzalez just hit Dakota Kai. This match looks like it's coming to an end, but that would be very short for an NXT match. Dakota Kai just speared Raquel Gonzalez, who's for some reason got her in a guillotine. Was that a Rough Rider? Ember Moon just hitting Zack Ryder's finisher there. Why not? He's now going up top, looking for the Eclipse. Hits Raquel Gonzalez. Gonzalez is down, but Dakota Kai's up and she's distracting the referee. To be fair, if the referee didn't get distracted there, he would have had to, the pin would have been interrupted. Gonzalez does kick out eventually. Not many people have actually kicked out of the Eclipse. I don't believe any have in the first 3 seconds. Moon has gone for Kai. That's maybe not the best move. Let her emotions get the better of her there. Gonzalez has picked her up, but Blackheart got the kick. Gonzalez was keeping an eye open there, looking for Dakota Kai to interfere. She didn't. Gonzalez had to kick out. They just redid the spot. Same thing happened. They're watching for Dakota Kai. I think she's missed her cue somewhere. Or maybe they've missed it. A lot of things could have been happening there. It could have been a miscommunication, but Gonzalez was definitely watching for someone else to make some sort of run in there. Blackheart and Kai are in. And just like that, we have the brightest collection of hair in WWE. Referee just communicated something to Ember Moon. This is feeling very much like a takeover match. Quite a lot of kickouts of really big moves, but it's maintaining a very high pace, lots of quick tags. Gonzalez, already having taken a beating, is back in the ring. Corey MLB says, is it kind of weird how they have the times, but I'm sure it's good with the times that you have in the UK. Not entirely sure what you mean. Would you be able to clarify slightly when you say how they have the times? For me in the UK, I'm very happy the show started at midnight rather than the 1 a.m. And that they usually do. Shotzi Blackheart did not get the rotation she was looking for. She landed on her head ever so slightly. Seems okay. Dakota Kai interrupts the pin. But yeah, for me, Raw can be really difficult because it's 1 a.m. until 4 a.m. That can be difficult for me. But a takeover show, 2:30, I'll be going to bed. That was nice. Ember Moon stood on the ropes for some reason. Shotzi Blackheart dove through them to attack Dakota Kai. Ember Moon, if she's still legal, can go for the Eclipse here. Blackheart's back in the ring, has tagged in Moon. Looks like they're going for their double team. Gonzalez is being hit with all the big moves now. Moon's legal has gone for the pin. Shoulder's not down. Can you tell I'm hyped for this one? I'm enjoying this. Oh, that sounded bad. A Tower of Doom crossbody. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get a Tower of Doom Eclipse, gotta be honest, but we have what we have. I think Dakota Kai is out of the match now. Okay, Northern Bear, take it back. I think the NXT Women's Division is taking this one. Dakota Kai's back in the match. I do like that NXT does this. You get moments where it's essentially reset. When no matter how much wrestling has happened, everyone's back in their corners, everyone's ready to wrestle again. And yeah, you usually have some sort of lockup. We kind of got one there. She did not get all of that chiropractor. Shotzi didn't really land. Someone in the crowd keeps shouting, "Finish her, Raquel." And I've got to be honest, I kind of respect it. We are still going. This is a really strong showing so far. For anyone watching, oh, that was a harsh one. That floor does not look very forgiving. For anyone watching on Twitch, please do remember to follow. I do regular watch-alongs on Mondays and Fridays. I also do preview streams for Raw and SmackDown and watch-alongs as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to subscribe and click like on the video. That's a big help for me and my individual growth. This match has been really, really high-paced. After this, I might get a box to put my laptop on because every time I look up there, there's just all I see is neck. All I see is neck. It's not visually appealing. And as someone who's naturally not visually appealing, I need to work as hard as I possibly can to be a little bit more visually appealing than I get at the minute. Raquel Gonzalez throws Dakota Kai onto Shotzi Blackheart from the outside in. And Gonzalez is dominating. This has been very competitive, a lot of back and forth. Gonzalez has hit her finisher. Dakota Kai is pinning as well. That's it. That's it. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez have won the Women's Dusty Classic. They will get the championship match at some point against the Women's Tag Team Champions, whoever they may be. At the moment, it is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, but Naomi and Lana also have an opportunity. I want to see that continue until WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, I want to see Kai and Gonzalez against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, against Naomi and Lana, against the Riot Squad. I think that would be a great four corners. Ed says, surprising, but I like it. I am surprised. My prediction was the other way around. I felt that was a bit of a lock, to be completely honest, but that is not where we've gone. A very good match, though. Very entertaining. Really high quality, but people recovered from a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Can I go lower on the seat? I can go that much lower on my seat. Corey says, I'll have Kai and Gonzalez winning that match if that happens. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd be really excited by that. I think that'd be fantastic. I think it makes sense for an NXT team to win the championships, at least for a little bit. But more than anything, I believe that's the first thing Dakota Kai has won, like, physically. First trophy or championship Dakota Kai or Raquel Gonzalez have won. That's a big deal. That's a real show of faith, particularly with Dakota Kai as a heel. She'd been heel more than a year. And this really shows that they have faith in her to go a really long way. Michael says, fantastic match. Happy to see Dakota and Raquel win. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those. Whoever won, it's a good result. Whoever won, we get a lot. So I have no issue with it. And as I said, I'm a huge fan of Dakota Kai. It's a shame she's not still currently on Twitch, because I would be sending you guys straight to her after this show. Right, while I have a moment, I'm just going to very briefly go and grab a box to stick this on and lift it up slightly so my camera is a little bit lower down on me. I won't be a second, promise. I will be right back. And I'm back. Also, quite importantly, we are next up, which is Kushida challenging for the North American Championship against Johnny Gargano. Also, quite importantly, for my laptop, it needed the fan to have a moment. It's straining. It's working hard. Look down at myself a little bit. Corey says, I have Gargano in this match. I haven't been certain pretty much the whole time when it comes to this one. I think Gargano stands a very good chance, especially with the backup that he's got. But I don't think he's been at as much at threat as he has been until now. For me, Kushida stands a very good chance. Vetom935, if I mispronounce your name, please let me know. Also, welcome. It's not a name I've seen before. Welcome to the channel, the community. Says, I hope Gargano wins and then loses the title with Loomis. Dexter Loomis makes a lot of sense with the way they've got things. Kushida could be about to hit a bit of a roadblock, unfortunately, with the amount of backup, but Dexter Loomis would even that out. And I think that is probably quite a good way to go. Dexter Loomis deserves a championship sooner rather than later for me. And Michael says, I'm thinking Kushida. I'm not a fan of him as a heel or the Way as a group at all. Can I ask why you're not a fan of the Way? Factions have come back to WWE in a big way recently. Sorry for the pun there. And a lot of people seem really happy about it. I didn't realize Johnny Gargano was thrown into an Evolution poster. Do you remember Evolution? Do you remember? Do you remember that happening? Yeah. It still disappoints me we haven't seen an Evolution 2. We certainly have a strong enough women's division across the three fields. We certainly do. And then you can add in Kaylee Ray. There's so many people it could be. Vitom as well, thank you for the follow. I apologize, I'm not watching in the Twitch stream manager at the moment, so it was 6 minutes ago. I apologize for not catching it, but thank you very much for the follow. I do have one of those follower alerts that pop up when I'm not multi-streaming, as in here on Twitch and on YouTube. So that would immediately alert me normally via Streamlabs, but this time not so much. Michael, as regards my question, says, Johnny does not seem like a believable heel to me, and neither does Candice. I don't like their promos at all. There are some people who are extremely good at working in one side, just like in one alignment, as it were. For example, I think Sasha Banks is a better heel than face. But it's one of those. Johnny Gargano, for me, is a great underdog. I would like to see a feud with Daniel Bryan, but it is what it is. Manny says that match is fantastic. Absolutely, it was a great opener. The crowd is hot. NXT have gone through many iterations. When it comes to the creation of stars, they haven't really been able to do it to the same degree recently, but they've certainly not dropped at all when it comes to the actual in-ring quality that they deliver. And Corey says, that's kind of awesome that we get back-to-back pay-per-views. Yep. 1 week from here, we get Elimination Chamber. Only 2 weeks ago, we had Royal Rumble. So we're getting a lot. We're getting them thick and fast. Johnny Gargano is doing a dance backstage. Austin Theory is way too happy. Like, way too happy. I don't trust it. Dexter Lumis is right behind them. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Dexter Lumis just used chloroform to eliminate Austin Theory from backing up Johnny Gargano. They haven't noticed yet. They will soon. That certainly gives Kushida a much stronger position. There's a lot he could do there. David Kahn says, where are you? Where are you watching Takeover? I'm at home, mate. I am at home here in Blackpool in my little office. That's where I'm watching Takeover. It is midnight at the moment. Johnny has just sent Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell to the back. Michael says, I really want Candice to be more than just Johnny's wife. She's too good for that. I agree with you there. She was brought in as Johnny Gargano's wife. She's been Mrs. Wrestling. She has had quite a lot of really good matches. The feud with, I believe it was a feud with Io Shirai, was extremely good. I want them to do a lot more, but she has gone back to being Johnny's wife since the heel turn. It's a shame. And Corey says, I think the main event will be match of the year for NXT. I think the main event will be match of the year so far for WWE, to be completely honest. Going forwards, we'll have to wait and see. It really depends. They could do a lot with Rollins and Cesaro, for example. They could do a lot with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. But Balor versus Dunn is powerful. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Daoud says, are you watching on the WWE Network? Yes, I am. I've been a network subscriber for a while. I have it on my TV running through my laptop. Match has started. It's going nice and fast-paced. Johnny Gargano has, of course, been Johnny NXT for a long time. They are highlighting that as we get going. Kushida with an early submission attempt. It is clear one-on-one. Dexter Lumis has done Kushida a real big favor there. WWE need to stop calling things dream matches. That puts way too much pressure on the performers in the ring. It's just not cool. It is just not cool. Kushida's wrestling in jeans. I kind of love it. There will be times when I'm enjoying the show so much that I go a bit quiet. Hope you guys don't mind. At some point soon, I will attempt to do a pay-per-view with alternative commentary, as in we are the alternative commentary. But it's just not quite live enough for that. Over here in the UK, we do get a bit of a delay. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We are going full chain wrestling to start with. Not often we get full chain wrestling from the off. Do we think Kushida is a lot more likely to win now that Lumis has eliminated Austin Theory from the picture? Or do we think maybe Dexter Lumis' appearance will be what causes Kushida to lose? I love the boots. I love his boots. Kushida's move from to NXT from New Japan is one of the last real big moves from Japan, which is a good thing because New Japan restarted. They've been continuing to deliver really good content. As much as I would love to see, for example, Hiromu versus Gargano, I'd prefer to see Hiromu versus Okada. So, Hiromu, if you're listening, NXT ain't all it's cracked up to be. You stay in New Japan, sir. Gargano is trying to bite the fingers. There is a fan in the front row-ish, wearing the Podfather shirt, who is shouting across a pod at someone. He's not happy with someone. It's kind of killed the energy in that area. Still very much a wrestling match. No real fight so far. That's the beauty of NXT. They make a lot of variety. At some point, I'll upload the audio from the interview with Triple H where I ask him about the variety that NXT deliver. Of course, even though I asked the question, it was uploaded to a outlet's YouTube channel without crediting me whatsoever, even though I'm in the audio on it. Okay, they're getting a bit more aggressive now. Johnny Gargano imposing himself a bit more. I can't tell if the Johnny Sucks chants have been piped in or not. Oh, Falcon Arrow on the outside into a submission. Oh, they don't make them like they do in New Japan. They just don't. Kushida takes his shirt off. I'm a bit disappointed no one in the crowd went, woo! They always do when Jeff Hardy does it. From the Kushida crowd. Oh, okay. That's a lovely brainbuster. Kushida's looking very good here. Michael says, how do you think Johnny would do on the main roster? I would be afraid he'd be relegated to Shorty J. Me too, because great wrestlers who aren't big guys get relegated to comedy acts on the main roster. I think they've done well with Keith Lee, but Matt Riddle hasn't really been doing much. Aleister Black's nowhere to be seen now. He hasn't been backstage in a long time. I think Johnny Gargano is in the right place for him right now. I think if he left NXT, it would be to go to AEW. And I think that would be the only right move. He might do well in SmackDown as long as Daniel Bryan has his corner. Gargano versus Cesaro could be a lot of fun. Gargano versus Rollins could be a lot of fun. I just don't think he'd get the opportunities. I just don't. Cheers, Michael. Michael agrees. That is the first time we've heard the phrase joint manipulation so far tonight. It won't be the last. Pete Dunne's in the main event. That was really nicely done. Kushida did a flip over the top rope, but instead of holding onto the top rope, in order to move into the next move, he dropped to the second rope, so he was available for Johnny Gargano to grab hold of. That was clever. That was very clever, and I appreciate it. I like how they did that. Kushida's moment seems to be over for now. They're playing up the left arm, which is good if Kushida's going to go for a submission for the end. Commentary is doing a very good job here, really highlighting what you need to highlight, the long-term injury potential and the like. Shut up, chair. Oh, Kushida's belt's come undone. Yeah, we're definitely at the point now where the heel is getting a lot of energy behind them, particularly for the whatever the comeback is going to be. It will be sooner rather than later, of course. Michael says, I really liked Kushida in New Japan, but I think he needs more of a character in NXT. Yeah, NXT disappointing, well, in a disappointing sense, have never been great at developing characters. I don't know what it is, but they don't really fully flesh people out outside of, okay, this person needs to turn heel or turn face to give them some personality. Their heels are a lot more fleshed out than their faces. Like I say, I previously mentioned that they started a feud once because Bobby Roode walked up to someone and said, huh, nice head. That's how they used to do things. They didn't really need to worry about storylines. They just had great wrestling. Now their main roster, as it were, they have put more effort into storylines. Kushida just hasn't really been featured as much as he should have done. Same can be said of Drake Maverick, of course, who was rehired after being released, and they haven't really done much with him since. It's not often you see a comeback octopus. I said octopus. Back to the chain wrestling. I like that they're not waiting for the 2 count. I respect that. That always annoys me when it's roll 1, 2, roll 1, 2. It's not good. That was a lot more real. Just a lot more real. Again, pace is very good. When it does slow down, it's not for a long period. The clothesline was great. They are going a little bit strong style, but they're doing it at the right moments. This feels like a G1 match. With someone like Kushida, who can really go in the Japanese style, he needs the right opponent to get the most out of him. Johnny Gargano is that man. He can wrestle any style, really. Apart from Power Game, obviously. Oh, lovely. Kushida keeps going for those arm-based submissions. Gargano's in trouble here. No sign of anyone from the way. No sign of Dexter Loomis. This is just a lot of back and forth. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the punch spot. I'm glad NXT don't overdo it. Oh. Lovely flip German. We have a Kushida chant. Brief, but that just made me think it was a real one. North American Championship is on the line. Kushida's got Gargano scouted. Lovely bridge, that. Gargano's out again. This is definitely the longest match I've seen Kushida in, and I'm really enjoying it. The man can really go. Longest match in NXT that I've seen Kushida in, just to be clear. It's kind of a warring chant. We have a warring Let's Go Johnny, Johnny Sucks chant. Ideally, I'd like a Let's Go Johnny Kushida chant. Put over the guy that you're trying to put over. Michael says Johnny is probably the perfect opponent for Kushida. I agree. I think there's a number of really good opponents for Kushida, but they are all at the top level at the moment in NXT. People who are experienced in Japan, people who can go strong style, Ciampa, Balor, Timothy Thatcher. Kushida likes really physical opponents because he comes from the Japanese school. Physicality is what he likes. Speed, physicality. Kushida versus Balor is that's my dream match right there. I want to say I feel like it's coming to the end, but let's be completely honest, I thought that a while ago. This is how NXT matches go. You never know. Michael says Kushida versus Balor would be fantastic. Completely agree. Completely agree. If you push him properly, Kushida will get there. You can see in the way he's performing. Oh, lovely from Gargano. As comebacks go, that's definitely the way to do it for Johnny Gargano. Really keeping things interesting here. Really hard to guess who's going to take the win in this one. We've all but forgotten about the attacks to the arm that Kushida did early on. Gargano's still been lifting, but he is selling it a little bit to remind us that it's happening. Just a lot of counterattacks, a lot of rotation here. They're overdoing this slightly. It just looks like a lot of hugs. If Johnny Gargano taps, that's a real big moment. Both men are wriggling out of everything. This is like a pure wrestling match, and I've got to say, really delivering hard. Michael says he loves Kushida's counters. You and me both, sir. You and me both. It's one of those things that comes from the Japanese dojo. Always been really clever and using the opponent's momentum to move into your move and so on and so forth. We've got the I'm tired punching spot going on right now. Johnny Gargano has a bit of a gash on his rib cage. Bit of a wound. Yeah, if he's injured, like if he's actually injured, as has been reported, I'd be very surprised given how well he's moved so far. Oh, lovely counter. That feels like it could be it. Right in the middle of the ring. They've got this submission on. Gargano has Kushida. Kushida's going to have to really work to get out of this. He's definitely thinking about tapping, but he's not doing it. He's got his arm free. You can see the gash on Johnny Gargano's ribcage now. Going straight to his nipple. Poor guy. That was smart. Kushida has swapped over into a Kimura. Is Gargano going to tap? We still haven't seen any sign of Austin Theory or Dexter Lumis. With all the counters, it's impossible to know how this is going to go. The Sonata pin. Finally, we're just going full physical. That didn't last long. Oh, I love a good lawn dart. It just looks like it really hurts. It says, God, this is absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is really high quality wrestling. This is G1 stuff, man. Anyone who doesn't watch the G1, you get this every time. One guy just tried to launch a Fight Forever chant. It didn't take on. Shame. I would like to see more of this. Wade Barrett very accurately saying what he said just there. No one deserves to lose this one. Again, I won't be unhappy with the result. It's too good a match for me to be unhappy with either result. Oh. Kushida's not out of it. It feels like it's flown by. Amani is saying the match is over-delivering. Yeah, this is top quality. This is what the WWE was signing when they signed Kushida. We haven't really been able to see much of him, but now he's finally got a chance to show what he can do. This is what they were getting. This is why they signed him. We know how good Gargano is. We know how good he is. They're on the top rope. This is going to end badly. Spanish fly into an armbar. That's right in the middle of the ring. Gargano's linked his fingers. Clever man. Alfie Hulse is here. Welcome, Alfie. Says, tell me who you want to win the next 3 matches, please. This one, I want Kushida. I think Gargano. Armbars in place. Was that a tap? If we're going to see Austin Theory, now's the time. For Io Shirai, Tony Storm, Mercedes Martinez, I think Io Shirai retains. For the Dusty Classic, I think the grizzled young veterans will be winning it. And for the main event, I think Finn Balor will be retaining. Gargano could get on the ropes, and he does. Welcome, Alfie. Glad to see you joining us. Gargano is just trying to get to the outside and get some space. He finally got his arm clear. I really hope this doesn't end in a count out. This deserves a lot more. Ref hasn't even started counting yet, so yeah, we're fine. Gargano is crawling away. Corey MLB says, since it's been a very crazy match, this is like a 5-star match. Yeah, there is not one single second that I've been bored. Oh, Kushida with the run all the way down the ramp, kicked Johnny Gargano's arm. They're in the ring. That's got to be building to the end. Got to be. Kushida's got the Kimura in. They can't keep letting him get out of this, surely. Oh, very nice use of the ropes by Johnny Gargano. Alfie says, done. Tony Storm and Grizzled Investor in. Does the NXT UK proud in NXT? Absolutely would. It would definitely put over the entirety of NXT UK. Michael says, clever way to break that hold. Right, you are, Michael. And that's definitely something Johnny Gargano brings to the table. He's very creative. Oh, he's done the over-the-rope DDT on the ramp, which does not look very forgiving, I'll tell you that. I still don't know which way this is going. Someone in the crowd just pulled their mask down. WWE, you want to keep track of that? Kushida keeps trying to get hold of the arm. Kushida takes the pin. Great match. Clean finish. Gargano escapes. People are booing, but they're also clapping. Manny says, wow, what a match. And again, two great matches to start the show off. This card has already delivered brilliantly. Ed also says, wow, that was amazing. Can only agree. This is how you have a takeover. This is NXT at its best. Oh. Alfie says, Dunn versus Balor will steal the show. Do you think an Edge appearance tonight? I don't think an Edge appearance. I don't think we're going to see Edge again until the Elimination Chamber, or maybe the go-home show to the Elimination Chamber. After what he said about not really needing to be there until the Chamber. He does only have a limited amount of appearances, and if he's not appearing regularly on Raw and SmackDown, they can save some for later in the year. Corey agrees with everyone saying that was an awesome match. Definitely one I'll watch again, I think. And Michael says, I was excited for this takeover. It has delivered so far. Ed says, quite rightly, Kushida doesn't get another shot at Gargano, so it has to be Loomis next. I would expect so. They obviously built up to the fact that Dexter Loomis is in the future for Johnny Gargano with the fact that he attacked Austin Theory. That seems like the natural build towards that, and it seems like where we're going. Again, I expect that to be a really very good match. To everyone watching on Twitch at the minute, please do remember to follow if you haven't. I will be doing a WWE Raw stream tomorrow, a preview stream, and a watch along when it comes to the actual show for Raw. So if you do want to watch that with me, be sure to click follow. You will get a notification as soon as I go live, 10, maybe 15 minutes before the show. They have been our most successful and well-visited shows, though this one is giving it a run for its money. Ed with a good suggestion. Do they do a submission match as a blow-off? Certainly they could. They kind of already did just there, but they could do it formally. Alfie says, are you doing more watch-alongs? Yes, I am, Alfie. I do recommend that you pop from YouTube over to Twitch, though, because I am able to monetize on Twitch now, which means I cannot dual stream on both YouTube and Twitch. The way that works essentially is that I'm going to be doing the watch-along for Raw, SmackDown, and Elimination Chamber on YouTube and Twitch. The Elimination Chamber will be the last live show on YouTube. So if you can, please do jump over to Twitch. I will put my Twitch into the chat so you can click on that. It's absolutely free to create an account. It is also absolutely free to follow, and you'll get a notification every time I go live. I also do some gaming content, so that might be worth checking out if you are interested in that. Ooh. We have an advert, well, a commercial, I should say, for an American fans for the Elimination Chamber, which makes sense. It's amazing just how many NXT stars are featured now, or at least former NXT stars. Edge is one of the few people currently competing who haven't at least done something in NXT. And of course, he appeared recently. Rashika Lawson says, you know any free sites to watch it on? I am not going to advertise any free illegal streams on this show. If you have the network, you can watch along. If you don't have the network, you have, I believe, I don't know, I'm not American. If it's on the USA network, by all means, you can check it out there. But I'm not going to advertise illegal streams in my show. Manny says, I think women's match is next. I don't believe so. I think it's Grizzled Young Veterans. It is a men's Dusty Classic. Next, Rishika, I'm not going to give you any illegal streams. But thank you for dropping in. It is MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Alfie says he will sign up for Twitch. Thank you very much, Alfie. I look forward to you popping up there. Corey has MSK for this match. Who else do people have? What does everybody else have? Do we have MSK? Do we have Grizzled Young Veterans? Personally, I have the Grizzled Young Veterans, even though MSK have had a very strong push in this tournament. Ed also has the Grizzled Young Veterans, and Michael also has a Grizzled Young Veteran, so I'm not alone in this. We will see what happens, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I think Grizzled Young Vets and Imperium have more history, and that works for me. Manny says, with Kushida not winning, I think we might actually see a change with women's or NXT title. I think it's more likely to be a change on the women's championship. Toni Storm is definitely in with a shout there. But for me, I don't... Bloody hell, MSK. For me, I don't believe any championships will be changing hands on this show. V-Tom also says, let's go Grizzled Young Veteran. So, Corey, you're a little bit solo here. But if MSK win, you get all the credit and you get all the glory. So we'll see how that goes. I'm enjoying what MSK are doing. I enjoy their style, particularly for the promos. I think NXT is definitely the best place for them. I hope they don't grow too far too fast, because then they'll draw the attention of Vince McMahon, and he'll bring them up, and they'll be doing what the Street Profits did, where they essentially appear, say, okay, this happened on Raw, and then we don't see them again. Do you remember when the Street Profits did that? They would essentially say, this is what happened on Raw. They'd give you a recap, and they didn't actually get in the ring for about a month. Or longer. God, how long was it? It was a long time. I think it's also telling that the Grizzled Young Vets recently had to close their training school. Fighting Spirit Wrestling was really creating some of the strongest performers in the UK wrestling scene. I'm a big fan of Hannah Taylor, who came out of their school, for example. I really enjoy her work. So the fact that they had to close it suggests that they're going to be in the United States for quite a long time. I think we may be seeing future tag team champions. I don't think they're coming back to NXT UK. Just a little bit of information there to remind everyone that I am actually still a journalist and still keep track of these things. What does everyone think of the MSK push so far? Do we think they're being pushed too hard? Or are we happy with the push that they're getting? Because since their debut, they have been the team in NXT. They have been the top guys. Michael says, I think if they win, then it's too hard of a push. I get what you're saying there. Corey says, this should be at least a 4-star match. This match has a lot to live up to, given the 2 matches that came before it. However, there's some very good people in it. Now, is anybody taking their shoes off for Zach Gibson? To be clear, not all Brits sound like that. Manny says, very happy, they deserve it. That Gibson, of course, is a Liverpool fan in the British Premier League. They ain't doing great. I'm also a Liverpool fan. They ain't doing great. Michael says, I love Zach Gibson's promos. Very intense, very smooth flowing, really very good. Also, as he's mentioned something about shoving something up the arse, The Rock, who, as we know, is a big fan of making shiny things go up people's arses, he's a big anal penetration fan, really wants to see the Dusty Classic trophy go up someone's arse. That would be painful. Okay, Zach Gibson is starting. It is our third match of the show so far. I apologize, I'm not too familiar with the names of the individual MSK wrestlers, so I might not give you the best play-by-play. But this should be very, very good. I've really enjoyed the wrestling style of MSK so far. You just don't see it anywhere. I'm also going to do a little bit of eating now, so if the noise of me eating gets too much, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. This is my first time eating on stream. I'm honestly quite nervous. I don't want to annoy people. But let me know if it's too insufferable and I'll stop. Wade Barrett, of course, backs the grizzled young veterans. He basically is a grizzled young veteran. They have the exact same aesthetic. I'm very self-conscious about doing this. But it's a watch-along. I need a snack. One of my favorite things about Gibson and Drake, and they train people to do this, is the vocal. They are always vocal in a match. No matter what's happening, you can always hear them. It adds an extra element. Charlotte Flair got a lot of plaudits for it recently in a match with Rhea Ripley, for example. It adds a lot, and it's really worth pushing. Oh, lovely. How many rotations was that? Good start so far. MSK are being dominant with the offense. Grizzly and Vets just don't seem to know how to cope with it. But the Grizzly Young Vets are smart. They will get back into this. Mr. Gamer, welcome. Glad you could join us. Says Kushida versus Gargano was fucking amazing. Yes, it was, sir. Yes, it was. We were going a little bit crazy for it in here, I'll tell you that. Wow, these guys are all flip. There it is. This is what I mean when I say Grizzly Young Vets are smart. Corey says, what did you think about SmackDown? Personally, having had to watch along and spoken with people there as well, I enjoyed most of SmackDown. There was a couple of bits that didn't really work for me. Seth's promo was essentially, things are normal, nothing's changed. But then I got excited by the feud that followed it up. So, same with Sasha Banks. I enjoyed her time when she was in the ring with Bianca Belair, but when she was with Reginald, I didn't really enjoy that. By and large, I really enjoyed it. All the tag matches we got, really new and different as well. The fact that Cesaro is going to be in the chamber, Kevin Owens essentially playing exactly the Steve Austin spot. A lot of ways it could go. I really enjoyed it, and I hope Cesaro is the one to win the chamber. Also said, I think it was good, the SmackDown chamber match to be pretty good. There was a lot of very talented people in that, and a lot of people who really work well in the hardcore element. For me, Baron Corbin's one of those. He really can work really hard like that. Mr. Gamer says, Matt says, I feel Mercedes Martinez takes a pin tonight and Tony takes a title from EO one-on-one. Certainly could. I think it'll go similar that way. I think we are building towards Tony and EO in the next few months, but Mercedes Martinez is there to be involved, but not necessarily take the pin. Justin Hoover says, did MSK wrestle? MSK wrestling right now against the Grizzled Young Veterans, and so far it's been a lot of fun. Ed says, hey, you Ed, SmackDown was a whole lot of fun. Thank you for saying that. You know that I like to read as many comments as possible. Hate you. Hate you. For anyone not used to the way that I do things on Twitch, if I say I hate you, it means I quite like having you around. I need to get more graphics on my screen. We're literally watching an incredibly exciting takeover, and then you look over at my screen, it's just my dumb face. I need to work on that. Manny says, speaking of holes, we're going to see Nia's tomorrow. No. They're not allowed to show buttholes on Raw. We're not going to see Nia's butthole at any point. I want to make that very, very clear. No one wants to. Well, I'm sure some people. I don't want to kink shame. I'm sure some people want to see that, but I don't think we need to see actual buttholes during my wrestling. Thank you very much. And Matt says, they've told the story of EO has never beaten Tony. That's a good story for a feud. Yes, it very much is. And I think it's a very good story for a one-on-one feud. I think Martinez is much like Keith Lee being added to the feud between Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley. We are building towards a one-on-one match. They just need someone to take the fall. Matt Riddle, for example, I think is there to take the fall. Same can be said of Mercedes Martinez. Also believes Raquel and Dakota are winning the tag titles from someone. Yep, we did speak about that a little earlier. My hope is that we see Raquel and Dakota taking on Nia and Shayna, also taking on Naomi and Lana, and then the Riot Squad in a Four Corners tag team match at WrestleMania. And honestly, and a few people did agree with me on this one as well, I'd like to see the NXT team take those championships for once. They very much established how this tag match is going to go. Grizzled Young Vets have been very clever and standard heels. Whereas MSK, when they get a run of offense, when they get some momentum, they are starting to look very good. Corey says at the end of Monday Night Raw, I think all the Chamber guys will be in the ring. And then I have a feeling Sheamus or AJ Styles or The Miz will be standing there having an advantage in the Chamber match. Standard, yeah. That makes sense. That's usually how they book these things. The advantage in the Chamber match is always who comes in last. And I think The Miz is a perfect guy for that. But at the same time, I don't see The Miz beating anyone else in that chamber, apart from maybe Jeff Hardy. I think if you were doing a hierarchy, Jeff Hardy is probably the one they care least about. Matt says I think the rest of the is going to be babyface heavy. Oh, the rest of the wins are going to be babyface heavy. Fair enough. Lorcan and Birch also makes sense for MSK to win here. There is logic to it, but I do still personally feel Grizzled Young Vets are the guys. In particular, part of my belief here is, as I have mentioned, the Grizzled Young Vets recently did have to shut down their training school, Fighting Spirit, here in the UK. So they're going to be in the US for a while yet. Just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who is watching along with me, either on YouTube or on Twitch. These watch-alongs have been a lot of fun. I have just noticed someone give me a downvote on YouTube. I'm guessing because I didn't give them a stream to watch illegally. What a shame. But at the same time, thank you everyone jumping on Twitch as well. We are getting some really good numbers over there. Things are starting to come together really very well. And I'm really enjoying the watch-alongs we are doing. We do watch-alongs on Twitch for Raw and SmackDown as well. There will be one for Elimination Chamber. That will also be on YouTube. And that will be the last YouTube live show we do. So please do remember to click follow on Twitch if you are enjoying the show. Matt says Balor wins here and moves on to Karrion Kross, and Balor did confirm he wants Demon versus Kross. He didn't say he wanted Demon versus Kross. He said that's certainly an option. It might work out. He didn't say I want that. If we are going by the New York Post interview, if it's a different interview, let me know. We haven't seen the Demon King in a while. I did report about 6 months ago that NXT are not rushing Balor. It's entirely up to Balor as to when he wants it back. That did make a bit of news. And then just after that, someone called me a liar. And then just after that, Finn Balor, in an interview with my colleague Stephanie Chase, who you should definitely check out, confirmed that I was saying the truth. Bless. Corey says, yeah, I've been loving it over here. Thanks, Corey. Really do appreciate you jumping in. And I'm glad you're enjoying the show so far. If there's anything else I can add, let me know. I'm trying to work out how to make these watch-alongs as fun as possible. In answer to Matt, Ed says he's, as regards Finn Balor, he said he could see it, also doesn't want to bring the Demon out too much. I do think it was awkwardly used in WWE. You could see when it was coming. You really could see when it was coming. And he couldn't win without it. That says bringing the Demon out for Karrion Kross makes sense. So to a degree, yes, it's a sort of a cult character, but also not bringing the Demon out makes sense to prove that Finn Balor can win matches without the Demon King. Which is, for example, why we didn't see the Demon King against Adam Cole. Bebe. So you can't say Adam Cole and not say Bebe. Or maybe, which I've been doing recently. I'm not a meme factory. Ed makes a good comment that I'd like to highlight, saying that the Demon King is face Balor. And that has been the case. That absolutely has been the case for a while. But then would Finn Balor be the heel against Karrion Kross? I think this necessitates Finn Balor being what he has been since returning to NXT. Even though he had a heel turn, it's a really good match. Even though he did have a heel turn, he's not necessarily a full heel. He seems to have reached that point, like a Roman Reigns for a long time, like a Charlotte Flair, where the WWE don't tell you face or heel. They just say, okay, here's Finn Balor. Face and heel, and this is something always worth remembering, is just a way to get people over. If they're already over, you don't need to worry about it. Matt can't buy Finn Balor without the paint beating Karrion Kross. Well, maybe Finn Balor's not going to beat Karrion Kross, mate. One of the problems Finn Balor and so many people had was that the Demon King was the winner, Finn Balor was the loser. That was it. They need to change that. So Finn Balor needs to get some wins, or the Demon King needs to take some losses. It says regular Finn gave Lesnar a run. Yes, he did. It's worth commenting on this particularly. Regular Finn did give Lesnar a run, but no one ever believed Finn Balor was winning that match. I remember when the match was first announced, literally that day, I posted a tweet saying, we won't see the Demon King because Finn Balor's losing. And they just refuse to do that. They will not be in that situation. They will not put Finn Balor and the Demon King into a situation where they are going to lose. Because the Demon King is marketable. WWE got a hold of it, and here we are. Matt says, if you want to have the Demon character retire, I think Cross is the perfect person to do that. Who says we want the Demon King to retire? The Demon King's marketable. WWE ain't letting it retire. As with every match so far, this one's been really very high-paced. Grizzled Young Vets have been extremely wily, which is the way that they usually wrestle. MSK have continually put their bodies on the line, have done some really interesting and unique moves. But have they overplayed themselves? They're looking tired. It might just be selling, of course, but they are looking tired. Oh, this is a lovely move. Tope Doomsday. Having been sat in right here in Blackpool in an NXT UK takeover, seeing them do that to Trent Seven, it's a beautiful move. You have to get the full rotation, though. If you don't get the full rotation, you're in trouble. Ed says, God, these teams... Oh, no, missed one, sorry. Ed said, God, these teams are good. They absolutely are. They are delivering really strong. Grizzled Young Vets, since moving from NXT UK, they've really shown what they can do. Now, admittedly, they did in NXT UK, but this is at a much larger stage. Michael says this is the best takeover since they moved to the USA Network. Possibly. So far, so good. There's still time for them to screw it up. I don't think they will. And Corey says this has actually been a great night, actually. The past 3 matches have been very good. First 3 matches have really delivered. And the next 2 look like they're going to be promising. Someone just lost his wrist tape. Is that Gibson? Is that Gibson lost his wrist tape? Grizzled Young Vets are looking strong. This could be it. It's not it. Matt says, if WWE is thinking of Balor versus Cross at Mania, WWE is going to want the theatrics and normal Finn versus Cross at Mania. Won't give WWE that. Let's imagine that on the Mania billboard. I don't know that they are thinking of that for Mania. And do you want the Demon King to be the draw, or do you want Finn Balor to get over? Because right now the Demon King is stopping Finn Balor from getting over, because the Demon King's a winner, Finn Balor's a loser. They have to stop that. I know you want the Demon King. We may have the Demon King, but it will not be a good thing for Finn Balor. Michael says, as the Grizzled Young Vets permanently moves from NXT UK to NXT, to my knowledge, yes, they are. It's hard to say permanently, but as I've said, they've closed their wrestling school over in the UK. They have been wrestling consistently in NXT. I don't believe we are going to see them again in NXT UK, because NXT UK has also been recruiting very strongly. It's only a 1-hour show, and to be completely blunt, nobody's watching it. That's a win for MSK. The faces win. Corey, you are right, sir. Corey just does a nice long yes. Ed says, oh, wow. Wasn't seeing that one coming, were you? I wasn't as well. And Corey says, what a match. Ed says, 1 for 3 and I'm loving it. Same, man. Same. That's the beauty of NXT TakeOver. Even if you're wrong in your prediction, you can't really lose, can you? You can't really lose. Matt says, WrestleVotes said WWE is considering Balor versus NXT. WrestleVotes also said WWE was considering a Rumble finish that would make everyone upset. When they say considering, it means it's not a lock. We don't know if it's going to happen. As I say, it might happen, but it's not a good thing for Finn Balor. Hell of a match. A lot going on right there. Just a lot happening. Really, grizzled young vets are the perfect foils for a new up-and-coming face team. They just have that element to them where you just hate them, you know? You just hate them, and that makes me respect them, because you just hate them. That's a lovely finish. There's so much rotating. Matt is predicting face wins for the rest of the night. What do you guys think? Next match will be the women's triple threat, surely. I've got Io Shirai retaining. What does everybody else think? Michael says, I don't like how MSK comes in, wins a tournament, and gets a title match. I think it's a bit too strong of a push. That's a fair comment. It is a very strong push. They are going to have big shoes to fill and a lot to live up to from the off. But it depends if they win that championship match. Logically, from here, they should. They've beaten everybody else. But I also feel like I should ask based on that. Do you feel the same about Karrion Kross? I just feel I should ask, because I felt that about Karrion Kross as well, to be completely honest. And I think the injury, having slowed his momentum, has probably done him good. Also says, I want Tony, but I'm kind of leaning towards Io retaining. Matt says, Raquel and Dakota winning earlier told me Raquel isn't the one taking the title off of Io. I wasn't aware that match was happening. I think by the looks of it, Raquel Gonzalez is moving on, to be completely honest, with Dakota Kai to the main roster sooner rather than later. And Michael confirms, yes, he did feel that same way about Karrion Kross. Okay. We have a Cameron Grimes promo. That is a hairy guy. That's every time I see him, the only thing I think is that guy is really hairy. Corey says, triple threat match next. It's hard to say this one, but I still have NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai. Fair enough. You seem to have been our yardstick so far. Matt says, Cross was Fed champ, and you don't feed champ to someone like Karrion Kross and not give him the title. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons it felt like like too strong a push. We're not annoyed at him winning a championship after having been shown to be that strong against Ciampa. We just don't think maybe that the push was ideal for him. Michael says, I went to a live event last year right before COVID hit, and the crowd was chanting, shave your chest to Cameron. It was funny. If you're a heel, lots of chest hair is definitely perfect. Baron Corbin got hated because he had a belly button. This is the world we live in here. If you're a heel, use it. And Matt says he thinks Io Shirai is the best women's wrestler in the world. We're about to see how good she is in that triple threat, and I'm excited for that. Okay, a moment ago I said we were having a Cameron Grimes promo. We didn't. We just saw Cameron Grimes throw money around and be hairy. Also wet. Be wet and hairy. If I put a video up on YouTube of me being wet and hairy, I don't think anybody's watching it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. WWE, upload my videos. Me wet and hairy. WWE is thanking the new Chinese audience that they have for a new TV deal over there. which of course explains why they're pushing a Chinese faction at the moment. Matt says, before Cross got injured, I don't think he was going to last much longer in NXT, which is why WWE fast-tracked into the title picture. So why give him the title at all? If he's not going to be in NXT long, don't give him the title. Just get him on. When you give him the title, that's a pretty clear indicator he's going to be there for a while. Also says, if not Tony, maybe it's Lee. I'm not sure. It says, God, I love that Grimes promo. Yeah, it's he's being very intelligent. He's using things correctly. It is triple threat time. Io Shirai's been champion for quite a long time. She's seen off pretty much every challenger and stood above everyone. In a triple threat format, that doesn't count for the same. Of course they showed her putting the bin on her head. I really like that they're showing what everyone else is saying. They're really showing what everyone else is doing. Michael says, what do you think about Progress starting back up next week? If it's been safely and securely recorded, then I'm very glad that people have a chance to go back to work, basically. But I do have some question marks about the management system of Progress. I think they've tried to clear it up, but let's just make it absolutely certain. Because the way the management chain changed certainly suggested something was afoot. There are some questions left to be answered as far as I'm concerned. If, however, it is a safe working environment for everyone working there, then I wish them all the best. I just wish we were seeing... it's one of those. Technically, legally, they absolutely should not have been filming here in the UK. They absolutely should not. Legally, they should not have been doing so. So we are currently in lockdown. Wrestling is not considered an essential sport. The recording should not have happened. Matt says, if Cross is next in line, does someone come out post-main event? I don't think so. I think someone will only come out if they've already been established. Except maybe Pat McAfee. Why not? I do believe Mercedes Martinez is here to do the job. And I think a large part of that is that she was moved to the main roster and she chose to come back. Just so you guys know, there will never be a moment in which I play the audio of my interview with Tony Storm. It's an interview and a half, I'll tell you that. I like the big V they've got in the entrance. Have you met Tony Storm, Matt? It's not something I was aware of. I don't really know her. I've met her, interviewed her. I've heard some stories. Mercedes Martinez attacks before we even get going. That's the right way to do it. They're going to need to keep this hot based on how everything is going previously. They need to keep the tempo high for this one. With the 3 women that we have, they should have no problem with that. I did once leave a wrestling message board because they were being cruel to Tony Storm, to be completely honest. As I would if anyone was being cruel in that particular way to any wrestler. To be blunt, when I did my abuse and harassment in wrestling video, that certainly factored into it. They sent me a message, the management of the message board, a little later, because I would type up news there, so they wanted me around. Essentially saying, you haven't been seen for a while. Do you think you'll be coming back? And I responded with, no, I don't want to go back there. Matt would have very much liked to see the championship win for Io Shirai in front of a crowd. It is a shame we can't have them, but I would hope we'll have them back eventually. I think WrestleMania will be the beginning of a lot of shows with crowds. I think one of the reasons WWE has the arena they do is so that they can eventually have fans back. And I think the intention is to do exactly what they've done here, just at a larger scale. There's only so much Thunderdome you can do, you know? Oh. Lovely moonsault from Shirai, but once again, guys, protect your coccyx. It's a delicate area. I'll be careful with that landing. Don't get hit in the coccyx. Matt says, Io runs a Mania 37 match with Meiko Satomura, and I'd love to inject all of that in my veins. I would really enjoy that match. I definitely would. I think Satomura is working with people right now who will benefit more long-term in the training that she is doing, and she is involved in a lot more training. So that will be more beneficial long-term. But I think there'll be a few dream matches in her future before she actually retires. We will definitely see Satomura versus Asuka. That is a match that will happen before Satomura retires. NXT do triple threats really well. Michael says we need to see Meiko versus Sasha. It could definitely work. I do feel Meiko's style and Sasha's don't really gel too well, personally, but it depends. I was very pleasantly surprised at Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks because I felt that Sasha Banks maybe didn't suit the dragging around, and they would have to limit it because of the amount of injured arms that Ronda Rousey left in her wake, because people just weren't built to handle the amount of pressure that she puts on an arm. So it could definitely work. I very much enjoyed Io versus Sasha. I like a high flyer against Sasha. I think Sasha just sells better with a high flyer. Oh, we have a submission chain. Mercedes Martinez going for the Sonata, which naturally means she'll soon release it for no reason. Yes, Matt, I know Asuka and Satomura has already happened, but not in WWE, and that's what I'm saying. It'll happen in WWE. I always like that there's random guys in the crowd holding championships. Manny says, unfortunately, this match so far has been the weakest. I'd say give it time, Manny. It started a little bit slower, but one, they're against really high quality competition, and two, there's still plenty of time left to knock your socks off, I tell you that. Oh, lovely by Mercedes. Matt says, my worry as regards Asuka and Satomura, there is WWE might handcuff them like they did Styles versus Nakamura. Nobody handcuffed Styles and Nakamura. They planned that match out with a producer, and they were happy with it. I'm not there for the double stomp for the same reason a lot of people aren't there for the double stomp. Why would Martinez hold herself up? You know? I like my wrestling to make sense. A double stomp is one of those random misnomers, it just doesn't. I always like how they use the barricades. Since we got the plexiglass up, everyone gets thrown into them. It took a couple of weeks before I think it was Bailey, the first one, realized that hey, there's plexiglass. I should just throw things in it. Why not? Oh, missed one. Yep. Michael says so. If Raquel and Dakota winning the tournament, Raquel pinning Io at War Games was all for nothing. Potentially not. Potentially so. It depends. You got to remember, War Games wasn't one-on-one. War Games was 4 women against 4 women, was it not? So whoever gets the pin is just their team winning. It's not necessarily leading to a championship match. It's just that we're so conditioned to think that it's what we expect. It might just be that Raquel was getting a push, as in fact she has had, or maybe the plans changed. Lots of possibilities. Manny says I got started late, so I should have given it more time. I think it has certainly picked up, and it's very enjoyable. They can't always go in 24/7 at maximum heat, you know. Mags welcome says bonjour Anatomy. Always have interesting names for me. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our watch along. Glad to see you, man. How are you? Who do you think's going to win this match? Matt says, I heard a rumor that Dakota was supposed to pin Io but got hurt. Not sure. I didn't hear that rumor personally. Manny says, I love how the table just fell apart. Yeah, WWE tables aren't sturdy. Note that they're not showing a replay. What they have just shown a replay of is the table spot where it was supposed to happen. And Matt is marking out for Io Shirai. Mag says, I think it's Tony time. So he thinks Toni Storm is going to pick up the win here. Io Shirai has been a champion for a long time. She's run through everyone. A Toni Storm win would at least give us something new and something different. Oh, lovely knee. The physical style of Mercedes Martinez has been a very good thing in this match. Really added a lot. Using the old-fashioned New Japan moves. Mercedes has hit her finisher, but she is very, very close to the ropes. Toni Storm kicks out regardless. Is it a finisher, Fisherman Buster? No, she's a submission finisher. Fair enough. That was a finisher. Matt says, I think Io has passed Shayna's first reign as champion. Yeah, they intentionally limited Shayna Baszler's first championship reign to make sure he didn't overtake Asuka's, I believe. Which is why Kairi Sane got the win when she did. Io Shirai, I don't believe, is there yet. So we are trading finishes and trading kickouts. Martinez kicking out of Storm Zero. Io Shirai still down on the outside. And Mags, who do you have for our main event, Dunn versus Balor? Yes, Mags, absolutely accurate. Shayna has a record for combined days. She does indeed. I believe she was the first two-time champion, two-time women's champion, I should say. Moonsault in the middle of a pin from Io Shirai out of nowhere. And Io Shirai pins Mercedes Martinez. That match was shorter than I expected. Mercedes Martinez did, in the end, take the pin. Michael agrees. That's what I figured. Mercedes being there to take the pin. Corey MLB, right? You are 4-0 in your predictions so far. You are dominating. Mags marks out for an Io Shirai win. And says, is the main event going 45 minutes? Probably. Probably, yeah. It's NXT TakeOver, of course. I say it's very likely. Dunn and Balor is going to be big. But unfortunately, I have to say that match was probably the weakest of the card so far. Not a bad match by any imagination, but ultimately, it's just that good a card that even a good triple threat isn't good enough. Mags is of the opinion that Pete Dunne may win the belt. For anyone not familiar with Mags, he was joining me for the main show for the Royal Rumble watch-along, so you may be familiar with him that way. And if not, he is a prolific a prolific podcaster whose work you should check out. He likes to build his Mount Rushmores, and he has the Badlands pod, which is worth your time. I've appeared on one of his podcasts before, Why We Watch, so that may be a good starting point for you. He also says he does want to see Balor versus Cross. This is why I think Finn Balor is going to win, because of just leading towards Balor versus Cross. I think that's a match we're going to see before Balor maybe takes a little bit of time off. Matt is asking Triple H, in a slightly creepy way, for Io versus Tony one-on-one. I think that is where we're heading for whatever show comes on at around about WrestleMania time. I'm going to quickly retweet that I'm doing a watch along. See if anyone else wants to jump into Twitch with us. We have another commercial for the Elimination Chamber. Hey, right you are, Corey. We're seeing the proper chamber intro. A lot of shots taken from last year's WrestleMania. We're going pirate themed again. We're running it again. We're just running it all over again. I swear that is just the video we had last year for WrestleMania. I genuinely think they just reused it. Ed wants to highlight a Fiend laugh in the WrestleMania promo. There was indeed. I'm confident the Fiend is going to be at WrestleMania and wrestling. And I think we will see the Fiend again very soon at the Elimination Chamber next week. Very good from Matt. Mania 37 is going to be like the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Reckons so. LA Knight officially signing his contract. Eli Drake has already signed his contract, of course, but this is LA Knight and it's in kayfabe, so we respect it. I like his jacket. I'd wear that. I like his facial hair. I'd wear that. Mag says Eli Drake and Taya signing are big gets for WWE NXT. I'm surprised we haven't seen Taya Valkyrie appear so far. Still time, of course, but we haven't seen it yet. And Corey says, man, that is a huge pickup for NXT. A lot he can do. A lot he can do. Barstool didn't get the greatest of showings tonight. He looks kind of lost behind Eli Drake. Wade Barrett does not look lost. LA Knight is a weird name, Matt. You are correct. Given the promo, I'd imagine he's doing the whole high roller thing. The name makes sense in that regard. Corey says, who do you got in the main event? I got Finn Balor. I personally also have Finn Balor. I think most of us have Finn Balor. Mags has said he has Pete, or that he thinks Pete Dunne might be taking it. He hasn't said he has Pete Dunne. But this is going to be an exciting one. And Mag says, I was actually surprised to see Trey Miguel re-sign of Impact when his Rascal Buddies joined NXT. Yeah, right now the WWE started signing again, and they started signing, to be blunt, for cheap. So the people they're getting, they are making long-term plans with. Trey Miguel might just not have fancied it. He might not. But at the same time, Impact, the contracts they're doing right now, they're not bad contracts. They're trying to lock people down. And of course, you also have the eyes via AEW, via New Japan. If Trey Miguel can spend some time in, for example, Best of the Super Juniors, there's options there. Michael has Finn for the main event, retaining the NXT Championship. Also says the NWA has lost a lot of talent lately. There's an exodus happening in the NWA. A large part of that is when we realized how little they were paying their talent. There's also a lot of people who are temporarily signing elsewhere. Thunder Rosa is still signed to NWA, but essentially, in order to get eyes on the product, the NWA said, go work elsewhere, and she did. I don't blame her. It's fair enough. We're getting a lovely crowd of names in the Twitch at the minute, and I'm really enjoying it. Previously, even as early as the Royal Rumble, whenever I do one of these watch-alongs, all the comments were coming from YouTube. I'm loving that they're coming from Twitch now. That is where I am able to monetize and will be doing so this time next week. I'm really excited for what we'll be able to deliver. There will be subscriber-only streams where I run down review content as well as news content and stuff like that and see how it goes from there. So if you are interested, there will be the option to subscribe next week from Twitch. And of course, from there, that will be the easiest way to support me. But you can also follow for free. And of course, on Twitch, you can join one of these watch-alongs and chat along, and you will always be welcome, followed or not. Ed very rightly says they aren't running a bunch of shows and their talent are highly sought after. They are. And really, when it comes to this, I think a lot of the talent are getting better deals and better offers elsewhere. Why would you stay if you're not getting a great deal offer? God, this match is going to be so good. I can't explain why I'm so excited other than I'm an Irish-British man and these two can really wrestle really, really well. This is just going to hurt. I'm going to watch this and feel pain. My inner sadist is so happy. I don't have an inner sadist. Shouldn't have said that. For anyone who recently watched my Bloodborne stream on Thursday, I don't have an inner sadist. I do not have an inner sadist. I'm going to ask The Rock. Rock, do I have an inner sadist? He's not answering. He's been talking to me all night. This time he decides not to answer. I worry he's onto something. Mike says, this is a Progress OTT New Japan Pro Wrestling match in NXT, and I am here for it. These two have fought all over the goddamn world. And stylistically, they are going to bring all of that into the ring. I would not be surprised to see a lot of strong style here. Just a lot of strong style. As Beth Phoenix rightly points out, Pete Dunne, he is our future. That is a WWE champion in the making. And he knows it. The Bruiserweight is going to be the top guy in the company. Cheers, Ed. Thanks for always having my back. I hate you. Always very glad to have Ed in these streams. And if you guys are a fan of Gothic Horror Gaming, the Bloodborne streams are 6 p.m. UK time. That is 1 p.m. EST. Right here on Twitch. You will get a notification whenever I go live if you have followed. You can also watch them on catch up. So if you'd like to see me dying, killing, and not being a sadist, it is right there underneath the bar on Twitch. Finn Balor is making an entrance with a lot of dry ice. The Prince gimmick really doesn't fit the Demon King, despite the fact it's Prince and King. They are mentioning Edge on commentary. They should be mentioning The Miz on commentary. He can still challenge for that championship. If Miz gives up and he goes for that championship, the NXT one, if he gives up on Drew McIntyre and he tries after this match, Finn Balor's going to beat the living hell out of him, and so is Karrion Kross. And I'd be there for it. I'd enjoy watching that. I enjoy watching The Miz get beat up. He's one of those guys that you pay money to see get beat up. Good old-fashioned heel. I like that Balor walks past the crowd displaying his abs. If I was there, I'd be like, Yes. Yes, I think I will. Yes. Yes. He's a very attractive man, Finn Balor. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do the thing. And then I felt ashamed of myself, so I did the thing. You can't not do the thing. It says, quite rightly, LA Knight in the Ring of the Miz could be the Spider-Man meme. I think they'd play up to that as well. What do we think, guys? Match of the night? Match of the year so far? Or just match of the year? Crowd are chanting, "Brew!" They're forgetting there's the wait. Michael says, it's only February, Tom. Yeah, but, you know? But, yeah. You know? You know. Also, everyone's cheering Finn Balor. I don't think he's a heel anymore. I think he's too cool. A very fair comment from Mags. It'll have to be outstanding to beat Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb. It will indeed. Personally, I think Shingo versus Okada was probably one of mine. Although Hiromu versus Okada last year was a great match. There's so much good stuff coming out of New Japan. NXT is not far behind. This has been a really good card. They're going to take their time with this. Slow build. Camera needs to get a bit further out because they're picking up what Finn Balor's saying. The commentary really building up that Finn Balor is fighting against the odds here. Yes, definitely well pointed out. Michael also says, first card with no Undisputed Era member since their debut of Brooklyn the Third. That is very telling of the landscape in NXT. Also, yeah, great run for Undisputed Era. They have been the top guys for that whole time. Literally that whole time. They've been the main event. They have been everything worth watching. This show has really shown the future and the intention. Pete Dunne being there, Tony Storm being there, Grizzled Young Vets and MSK, everything that happened with both Dusty Classics, Kushida. This show is about developing a future. In order to do that, people need to get out of the way. That includes people like Ciampa, who haven't been used all that much recently, was in the Dusty Classic, didn't get too far. If you're not leaving NXT, you're going to have to do some favors. Undisputed Era, I think, will be doing a few favors in the near future. There's going to be a lot of joint manipulation. You'll hear that phrase a lot as well. Pete Dunne prefers a slow build style. Finn Balor likes to go from start to finish, but Pete Dunne likes it to start slow and build up. It'll be interesting to see if he tries the bitter end from the top rope. He did that during the first Blackpool NXT UK takeover. I attended that. That's when Finn Balor attended as well. But he wasn't able to get Joe Coffey in that move reliably without slipping off the top. Finn Balor, different opponent. And this is the right time to start impressing people. Mike says Dunn looks like he's lost quite a bit of weight. Yeah, essentially because of a lockdown, he did a lot of exercise, upped his regime, as it were. He was already doing a lot of exercise, but he couldn't wrestle. So he upped his physical regime, and he looks fantastic. There's a few pictures he put on Twitter where he explained that while he was still doing production work, he's doing a lot of match production. He undoubtedly had a hand in producing this match as well. Much like Kushida and Gargano, we are starting with mat wrestling. Right way to do it. It says this match never happened around the world. Is that correct? It's legit the first time ever. I do believe this is legit the first time ever. They did just keep missing each other. Pete Dunne wasn't in Japan all that long, and he was never at the level to compete with a Finn Balor during that time. And when it comes to Europe, same thing. Pete Dunne emerged after Finn Balor had already moved to Japan. Pete Dunne would have been 20, I believe, when Finn Balor moved to Japan. Finn Balor's a bit of an older man than Pete Dunne. So yeah, to my knowledge, this match has never happened before. Crowd are loving it. And by crowd, I mean Thunderdome. Thunderdome is loving it because I can't see anyone in that crowd clapping, but I'm hearing clapping and chants of NXT. WWE need to be smart with that. Conor McGregor name drop. Maybe it'll be Conor McGregor facing Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. Joint manipulation, there it is. Got the triangle locked in. All he has to do is pull the arm now. Yeah, the way they're building this is going to be a long match. Takeover of this quality, this is what will make people tune in on Wednesdays. They can keep this up, they'll be laughing. Manny says he can't wait for Bad Bunny to become a full-time wrestler. It's not impossible. Rob Gronkowski is apparently going to become a full-time wrestler. Do you remember that? Do you remember? Sometimes we get told things that don't happen. Done literally just standing on Balor. I mean, Finn could have turned right there. There was no grip on his left arm. He could have just turned right and rolled into it. They need to think about these things for their submission moves. This is very standard done so far. Slow-paced, working on the joints. Balor's comeback will be where we go into more of a Finn Balor style match, but Pete Dunne likes to work his heel, really. Manny says Takeover is scheduled to go off at 9:30, but I assume it's going to go longer. Depending on your clock, I'd imagine that's in about 20 minutes. I think it will end at about that. I think it will end at about that time. We've already had 6, maybe 7 minutes of this. I think about half past that will be the end of it. Five matches, 2.5 hours. That's how you do it, you know? That's how you do it. Michael says, and I agree, this is a perfect length for a takeover. Absolutely it is. Finn Balor starting his comeback. Mane accurately. Raw tomorrow is a go home to the chamber. Yeah, they are delivering at the minute, WWE. Lots of pay-per-views, lots of shows. It just depends whether they can deliver at Elimination Chamber the quality of matches that they've done here. I don't know if that's possible, to be completely honest. You are right there, Ed. Elimination Chamber is the last pay-per-view on the WWE Network before the Peacock move in the States. Obviously, WWE Network will still exist outside of the States. Fastlane is the first show of the Peacock deal. I think we're likely to see Goldberg appear, not wrestle, but appear, possibly John Cena as well, just as a way of trying to pop the crowd going for it, which is why I think The Fiend will be focused on Elimination Chamber instead of Fastlane. Oh, it's definitely a very physical match so far, I'll tell you that. Still a slow mat-based match so far. For me, it's starting to go on this section a little bit too long. That's not deep in the guillotine. His head's barely covered. There it is. There it is. We need to start seeing some power moves now. Start getting physical. Start making it look like they're actually trying to hurt each other. Pete Dunne is a brave man having a tattoo on his knee. That must really hurt. Not a tattoo expert, as you can probably tell. But from what I do know, ribs, painful. Sternum, painful. Anywhere near a bone, painful. And you've got a massive bone on your kneecap, that's going to hurt. It says James Drake has one too. Jesus. Oh, he does, doesn't he? Yeah. Brave man, brave man. They probably got it from the same person. I know the NXT UK guys do have a preferred tattooist. Or at least some of them do. Okay, we're getting physical now. We've got to the next part of the match. Phase 2. Do want to highlight for anyone who has dropped into Twitch over the course of the day, a big thank you to everyone there. Same for the YouTube, anyone who has dropped in. I hopefully you guys have been remembering to click like. If you're watching on YouTube, please do remember to do that. If you're watching on Twitch, please do remember to follow. There will be more watch-alongs a Raw preview and a Raw watch along tomorrow, as well as on Friday. Gaming content on Tuesday and Thursday. You'll always receive a notification telling you exactly what to expect when we go into a show. So please do remember to click that follow button so you can get updates. It is absolutely free. You don't have to worry about subscribing just yet. That's one way to do it. Pete Dunne does things that I've never seen anyone else do. That's a compliment. That's a lovely chop. Don't you just love a good chop? Edge has posted a tweet saying that he is watching the Takeover main event, trying to tease the idea that he might step up to someone here. Michael says those chops are loud. Yeah, they are. They are not holding back whatsoever. He completely missed his jump there. I don't know whether the knee cell was calling an audible, but he's used it really well. If it was, lots of reversals, lots of counters, literally stomping on his face. Oh, lovely powerbomb. The pace has seriously gone up. That was a 2.9 right there. We have a "This is awesome" chant. I'll wait to see if anyone's actually clapping this time. I think this is Thunderdome audio. It's too consistent. Just let him go. Just let them wrestle. You don't need to pipe in all the audio. We are back in a grip for submission. They keep going back to that well. So far, it's not really paid off. But hey, might as well keep trying. Right, you are, as I'll click on that. Ed says this live crowd is really helping. It really is. Just having people there giving actual live reactions, it is so much better. And it kind of shows what they're going with for WrestleMania. If you've played any of the old WWE games, I think as far back as SmackDown versus Raw, the first one, you get little images of the body of your wrestler, and like if the head goes red, it means they've hurt your head. And if your legs go red, it means you might do a little limp. It's everything right now. That seems to be what they're working on. Manny says, I think they'll be fans by SummerSlam. There's going to be fans at WrestleMania, mate. And I strongly suspect there'll be fans at every pay-per-view thereafter. The WWE preference, once they have fans, is never to go back to no fans. Once they have some fans, there is no interest in going back completely. That's something they're still working out at the minute, but they don't want to leave absolutely no fans. We're back in the triangle again. Dunn very, very briefly was making love to Finn Balor's face. And if the opportunity comes, then, I mean, I've got to be less thirsty. You get me. And Manny says you might be right on that. Yeah, WWE plan is very much, if we can keep fans every week, we'll keep fans every week. They don't want to do WrestleMania with fans and then go back to no fans. They want as many as possible. Well, not as many. You get what I mean. They want consistency, and that means once there are fans, they keep fans. It's why they're testing what they're doing with NXT, and they have been for a while. If they can do that, they'll do that. Finn Balor seems like he's fading, but for some reason the ref is pushing him off. This is a wrestling match. The ref shouldn't be stopping wrestling. Oh, lovely. Just a kick right in the head. Incoming bitter end. We have our second octopus hold of the night in 2 separate matches. Or drop octopus, fair enough. Essentially a side on crossface. Dunn's going to bite. Dunn's going to bite. Oh, he can't bite. He's got a mouth guard. What am I thinking? How can you boo Pete Dunne? I mean, look at him. He just likes hurting people. Why do you watch wrestling if you don't respect people who just want to hurt someone else? Pete Dunne's your guy. Dunne is maintaining wrist control. That usually means the Rainmaker's coming. That is a low blow. That's a low blow, but he did it with Finn Balor's arm, so that's technically legal. Bitter end. Got to be a false finish. False finish. Oh, they nearly had me. They never had me. They nearly had me. This has been good so far. I do feel it needs to go into a slightly higher gear. And they need to stop piping in a "This is awesome" chant. Nobody in that crowd is clapping. We know that. We can see that. Stop treating us like we're stupid. Finn is getting beat up. Powerbomb reversed into a DDT. This could be Finn's big comeback. This bitter end is not going to land. Late kick out from Pete Dunne. He's holding his hand again. He will not let go. I should clarify, he's maintaining finger control. Pete Dunne's all about the fingers. To be clear, if on Wednesday we see these 2 men come out, walk down to the ring and just cut promos, then they're not doing their job. You need to sell this. Yes, Michael, I did say Pete has a thing for fingers. He took out the mouth guard. Someone's going to lose some teeth here. Coup de grace. Lands. Pete Dunne's shaking his head. He's not letting that be the finish. Oh, wow. Yeah, he landed on his head there. Finn Balor retains. Nice and clean, but he's going to have some battle scars after that. Oh. People full on marking out here. Boom, 1916 from Mags. Ed with the, oh God, Michael saying 1916 is such a good move. And Corey celebrating a clean sweep. If we were doing a contest, sir, you would be our winner. So at this point, all we can do is applaud you, sir, getting all your predictions right. Finn Balor retains, vanquishing Pete Dunne conclusively and selling the finger pain. Still selling the finger pain. Very good match. Snapping the phalanges. Pete Dunne, as we know, big finger guy. Corey says it was a 5-star match. I'm not sure personally I would go that far. I think it was a very good match. But I do feel it got into top gear a little bit too late for me personally and started off a little bit too slowly. Still, very, very good. I'd like to see more. Just a bit too much finger stuff for me, you know? Finn's got some welts on his chest. Ed says, I think Gargano versus Kushida was the match of the night, surprisingly. Probably the same for me, yeah. I think they were delivered a little bit stronger. Michael, not the match of the year you're hyping up to be. Pretty much, I was very excited. I think maybe I overhyped it for myself, which that happens. The lights have gone down. Will there be anything after? Or will Finn Balor get to stand tall? He is the champion. He's on the ramp. No one behind him. Finn Balor stands tall. NXT champion. Vanquishing Pete Dunne. The tag team champions are attacking Balor. So, more Pete Dunne? Or is this a face turn for Pete Dunne? Is he going to, for example, swerve them off and say, no, it's about respect? Nope, definitely not. It just looks like this is going to keep going. Now, this might be another way to put MSK over. They could certainly help Finn Balor right now. They are, after all, going to be in a feud with the tag team champions in no time. This could heat it up. The referee actually tries to physically drag Pete Dunne off. Not often you see that from a referee. B. Tom says, I think both Dusty Classic matches are really solid, but I definitely choose Gargano versus Kushida as a match of the night. The Undisputed Era have appeared on TakeOver to clear the ring, get rid of Pete Dunne. Finn. What's it going to be, sir? What's it going to be? A lot of people have ideas. Corey saying that's a fine hitting a referee. That was a hell of a hit. Referee took quite a bump. He don't look great out there. Mag says, there's a UE appearance. The streak is alive. Indeed it is. And Corey thinks we're going to see a 6-man tag team match on Wednesday. Finn. The fans want to see a 2-sweet. Respect Kyle O'Reilly. When he reaches out his hand, you take it. But he wants you in the crew. Are the 4 men going to stand together? The setup for hard cam. What are you going to do, Finn? There it is. There it is. Oh, that was a hell of a super kick. Oh, that sounded beautiful. Adam Cole super kicks Finn Balor. Strong and O'Reilly apparently not happy with him. Ed says, didn't see that coming. I didn't really see it coming myself. Adam Cole striking out. It looks like Finn Balor might be taking Cole's place as the leader of this Undisputed Era, because Adam Cole might be moving somewhere else. Or is Roderick Strong with him? Roderick Strong's not sure. Cheers, Michael. I appreciate that. Roderick Strong has stayed behind. What will Bobby Fish have to say about that? The show is ending with Roderick Strong still in the ring, undecided. Guys, the show is over. Right, I'm going to pause that right there. And let's do ourselves a little wrap up. What did everybody think of tonight's NXT Takeover? I've got to say, that was an incredible show. Really delivered in everything we needed to deliver. The first match really got the crowd warmed up. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez really delivered in the match, really showed what they could do, as well as Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, who as a tag team are still fairly new, but were able to create and were able to really adapt. They were able to basically display themselves as a tag team well worth the watching. Kai and Raquel Gonzalez go forwards to a tag team championship opportunity, which I could definitely see them winning. Great opening match. All four women really delivered. Match of the night for me, as aforementioned, was Gargano versus Kushida. We haven't been able to see what Kushida could do until this match. And I, for one, really enjoyed it, as apparently many of you guys too. Kushida definitely looked threatening for most of it. Gargano literally escaped by the hair of his teeth, getting away from that one. And that is how you've got to book these things. That's how you've got to make it work. Third, MSK, who've been on the ride of their lives, pushed so hard, taking on and defeating the Grizzled Young Veterans. Grizzled Young Veterans, wily, creative, trying to find ways to make sure that MSK couldn't display their offense, but MSK did. They could not find a way to stop MSK, even to slow them down long enough. MSK coming out with the win. Fourth match, women's triple threat. Io Shirai, Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez. For me, probably the weakest match of the night. Still, however, not a bad match, just up against really strong competition. That makes perfect sense to me, that what we are looking at is just a great match going on. It just unfortunately wasn't able to deliver the rest. Io Shirai seemed to be the spot monkey of the match, unfortunately. She had a number of really creative, high-flying spots, but wasn't really involved in much of the nitty-gritty physical stuff. Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez essentially having a match within a match, though shorter it was, similar to the match between Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble 2014, when Lesnar was taken out on the outside and Cena and Seth Rollins had a match to essentially save the idea of a triple threat for later. Because essentially you need to keep Storm and Shirai at least somewhat separate, because it looks like that is where they are going. Main event, of course, Finn Balor, Pete Dunne. We knew it would be good. For me, I think I might have overhyped it slightly, as I'm sure you guys have realized, but still a really enjoyable match. Started slow, lots of joint manipulation, clever wrestling, really told a good in-ring story. Didn't quite get up to the highest gear until very late on. I felt really we should have got to the higher gear late a bit sooner, But when it did get there, it got there fast. There was some really high impact moves. Finn Balor's definitely going to be feeling it in the morning. And if you didn't feel that, the super kick from Adam Cole, who followed up with a super kick to Kyle O'Reilly, that is the storyline element. For all the great wrestling, there wasn't much storyline advancement apart from maybe Dexter Lumis on Austin Theory. That was a bit of storyline advancement, but really this was all about conclusive, clean match finishes until we got to right that end section. After all the matches had finished, we had our storyline, everything going on with the Undisputed Era and Finn Balor. There was no Too Sweet, but it looks like they have been very clearly separated. I have reported previously, not all of the Undisputed Era want to go up to the main roster. There would need to be a breakup to make that happen. Seems like it might be going that way. Let's have a quick look at what people are saying. Michael Latino says he likes that ending. Best show in a long time, honestly. Corey MLB is talking about Adam turning heel, and he agrees that Kushida and Gargano was the best match. Let me know if that's not the part that you agreed with, but that's when I saw it pop up. Vitam also says, agree with you too, amazing show. And Conrad is marking out for Adam Cole, baby. Or maybe, depending on whether or not that's for Adam Cole or not. So I'm glad everyone enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for jumping in on the watch along. We are doing these regularly now. Raw watch-alongs, SmackDown watch-alongs. We will be doing one for the Elimination Chamber as well. That will likely be slightly longer as per, but they are putting on great shows at WWE at the moment when it comes to takeovers and SmackDowns. Raw and some of the NXTs have been struggling. Conrad also says Takeover is always great. It's probably the most reliably great show in wrestling. And Ed also says a live crowd really brings the canned audio up a notch. Thank you, Ed, very much for moderating tonight. I know that by and large, my chat room doesn't require all that much moderation, but I very much appreciate you having you here in case something does go on. For anyone who wants more wrestling content, stick with this here Twitch. Make sure to click follow, because on Monday, tomorrow, we are getting a preview for Monday Night Raw. We are getting a watch along for Raw. We have gaming content on Tuesday, Football Manager. On Thursday, Bloodborne, Gothic, Horror, Roleplay. And on Friday, similar to Monday, we have the SmackDown preview and the SmackDown watch along before our Elimination Chamber show, when it will also be on YouTube. Anyone who has watched on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't, like if you can. Anyone watching on Twitch, please do remember to follow, and I will see all of you guys hopefully tomorrow. But whenever you can join me, I would always be grateful for the time. Thanks everyone for giving a bit more info and encouraging people to follow. Don't have a subscribe button just yet, but I promise you it is coming right after Elimination Chamber. Thank you guys for making this fun and really ensuring that everyone had a great time, being real upbeat and enjoyable. The Twitch streams are really fun at the moment. Thanks everyone. I will see you next time.